Hello, welcome to Outside the Overton. I'm Joshua Vandernoord, off camera slightly. This is Zeb Boykin, and that's Billy Bones. And today, honestly, today, it's just kind of the same old war with Iran, which if you're here, if you're one of our regulars, and if you're just getting here for the first time, honestly, you're probably getting our channel because you know what's going on. So we don't really need to reiterate it anymore. We'll keep you appraised of the situation as more updates come. But for now, we're just kind of having a chill stream. We talked about doing a Zoom call-in show. And basically, today, Zeb and I are posing the question, why does the left, and really why do so many people want to destroy America? And we hadn't talked about this before, so I've definitely I think it's a good answer.
Yeah, I don't think we've addressed it directly. We're going to do Zoom calls after this, but before, like I said, Josh said, I think before we get there, I want to address, basically the question is, why do Democrats, the left, want to destroy America? And it's a very broad question.
Of course.
It's a broad question. I think there's a lot of answers to the question, but I think it comes to a point. I want to address as many of those answers to that question as I can before we actually dive into the heart of the thing. So I don't know what your answer is going to be. I guess you can. I'm gonna have to go to the other side of the computer for a half a second.
Sure. All right.
And
I'm one. Cam one.
You're good.
Oh, you want side react?
I'm gonna set you. I'm gonna move your camera just slightly. All right, chat. We're doing it on the fly. Jim says Zoomer's running late. Am I a Zoomer? I think I'm a millennial.
That's kind of funny. I was thinking about that this morning actually, and I was like, I'm like the very first Zoomer, 1997, which would definitely make you a millennial.
Yeah, so. I'm a millennial. I think I'm a millennial at heart too.
Slack ass millennials.
I don't know, man.
Right?
Sometimes I think I'm a Zoomer. Sometimes I feel like I get a little bit of that Zoomer.
Again, yeah, I was thinking you're a millennial by definition, but spiritually, you're just like there's spiritual boomers. You're a spiritual Zoomer. Yep. So
yeah, we were talking about that this morning too. We were talking about some of our grandparents aren't boomers; they're the silent generation, but they're boomers. Everybody knows they're boomers. You can throw dates at me all you want to, but they're boomers.
Jim from Florence could teach a class about boomers. That's one of his typical call-ins when he calls into Wake Up.
Well, we're gonna have call-ins open today. The link is in the description. Depending on where you're watching this at, it might be actually in the title itself. But we're gonna have Zoom call-ins. If you want to call in with no face, that's fine too. We can do that.
Don't matter.
Just give us about, what does it take? About 30 minutes. We can try to get through this.
Yeah, we'll just do kind of an opening spiel and
3:15, 3:30, and then we'll jump into the Zooms for sure. Malarkey, welcome. Why? What in the world is going on with that chat?
I have a joke, but I don't know.
Where did it go? Okay, there we go.
1989 theology.
Let's go. Giving us some shout outs on Twitter. I appreciate it, brother. But we're going to get into it. I'm going to let Josh kind of give his spiel. I'm going to situate him a little bit, and then I'll be right back on the other side of this.
All right.
So basically the question is, why do people want to destroy America that live in America, Josh?
And the answer is simple. They are not American. And really what that means is, and this is something Zeb and I have talked about before, it's something I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, but essentially there is, like in America itself, there has been a loss of national identity. And the distinguishment between a nation and a country is almost lost on many Americans these days. So there is a nation that is America. The founders and they and the people that came before, the people that came after, the people that created this country, not just the George Washingtons and Ben Franklins and so on and so forth, but all the people, the people that expanded out west, manifest destiny, all this good stuff. Lewis and Clark, the Wright brother, all of these are Americans. But in the same way that you would say, if I were to pick up my family and move to Japan and set up a life there, and I basically I completely move there and I live and I die there, am I Japanese? Are my children who are born there, are they Japanese? Would you look at, even if the only language they knew was Japanese, even if the entire culture that they knew was Japanese, would they be Japanese? The answer is no. And the truth is and I get it, like what America is an amalgamation of different peoples. But those peoples are wasps and basically the genus of black people that we unintentionally created through slavery. That's what I would say. And even then, especially nowadays, most of them don't even fall into the category under that category. I know you and I probably disagree about the African American distinction, but anyway, my point being is, why does the left want to destroy America despite the fact that they lived here? And it's because most of these people come from countries or ideologies or ethnicities or religions that just on their face, either A, and this was like they're intelligent and they hate us, like the Jews, or they're just too stupid to know. Like you go, well, why are they trying to destroy why are they trying to sink the ship they're currently on? It's because they don't even see it that way. It's because they don't even think that way. And that's why like Dr. Umar, I always use him as an example because I actually think he's a really entertaining guy. He's a really effective speaker, but he constantly talks about the issues in the black community. And I actually agree with him on a few things. He's one of these people. He had a clip. I almost sent it to you the other day, Zeb, but it essentially was, it's like, I have nothing, this is him talking. I have nothing against white people. I have nothing against like the snow bunnies. But when you have like talking to black men, when you have sex with a white woman, you are investing in that community and not your own. I agree with him on that. But the problem is Dr. Umar, he also thinks that black people invented everything and that every good thing about Western civilization, like about the Roman Empire, everything came from the Moors. Everything came from black people. So he deludes himself in this way. Yaqub, yeah, literally.
Does he actually believe in Yaqub?
I don't think so, okay. But I'm sure.
Close
but
enough.
He definitely
Basically
believes that
else.
like if a non-white person did it, it's because a black person did it first, and they just got the credit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like black people did it first, white people did it later, and took all the credit. That's Dr. Umar's belief about race. And the truth is it's like that's the problem. Is I agree with him on the race mixing thing, but he talks about nation building. He talks about like the white system and how it needs to be overthrown. Like white people look out for themselves, black people need to look out for themselves. But what he's advocating for is he refuses to accept the reality, which is there are no functional black countries. And I'm using this as an example basically to say that
without white intervention.
Oh, sorry?
Without white intervention.
Without white intervention. And the point being is I see you, Malarkey. I'm coming for you if you do anything bad. But didn't you talk about getting a noose? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Malarkey. But basically, I mean, I'm using the race thing as a specific issue. Someone like I'll even pivot a little bit to like Ilhan Omar. Well, it's not a total pivot, but she's a Somali Muslim, and she comes over here and she tries to recreate America in her own image.
There you go. Now we're getting to it.
Yes. And the problem is they're doing this intentionally. They basically see America as like a hotel or like a placeholder. And basically the fact that America was built by a certain people and maintained by it for so long is irrelevant, because even despite the fact that if you start to distinguish yourself based on race, based on religion, based on the country you came from, so black, Muslim, Somalia, you don't actually have a lot to stand on once compared to white, Christian, America. But they just don't even accept it. They just lie to themselves. They lie to everybody else. And the point is at the end of the day, it's like, why can't we all just get along? Honestly, it's the white people are the least racist. The white people are the people that are genuinely trying to.
Yeah.
It's minorities that are racist.
All right, let me see if I can take a crack at this before we dive into it. Josh kind of hit at it a little bit, and the end result or the end answer to all of this is essentially going to be no one agrees on what America is, because a lot of these people live in a delusion, and I talk a lot about this on the show all the time. Is the question of what is true, what is reality? I say what I believe to be true, and that is based on what is in reality. And so this is what you get when you talk about, I think even Ted Cruz kind of hinted at it in his spiel yesterday with Tucker Carlson, he was talking about conservatism is rooted in reality. And so the question that we're trying to pose today is, why do Democrats want to destroy America? Or that's the one that was posed to me.
He said it's not utopian.
He said it, yeah. Well, he said it's not utopian in that he meant it as utopia is a delusion.
Sure.
And so in that context, he was. I mean, he's loosely correct. I disagree with him because
sure.
What he was espousing was quite literally not based in reality. And so the question is, how do you define America? And I guess to get to the question that was posed to me was, why do they want to destroy America? And I guess it kind of sounds like I'm Jordan Petersoning over here when I say that, it depends on what America is. It depends on what destroy is. It depends on this. It depends on that. But these people don't live in reality. They cite the founding fathers, yet disregard them on almost every other principle that comes across. They want to abolish the Constitution by using the Constitution against itself, right? This is what they want to amend the Constitution into oblivion to where it doesn't mean anything. And then they can take the Constitution. I don't have a water bottle over here to beat the skeleton over the head with again, but they want to take the Constitution and beat people over the head with it because they can amend it. The Constitution is grounded in nothing because it can be amended, right? Mm-hmm. Not only that, but on top of that, you can have something like the Civil Rights, which nullifies freedom of association. You have no First Amendment right because of Civil Rights Act. And then on top of that, you can go to Brown v. Board, where we lost the freedom of association with the desegregation of schools. Regardless of your stance on that position, you have to acknowledge that it nullifies the Constitution for which you stand on. And so whether it's the purple-haired liberals that want to progressify everything because they think tradition is backwards, or if it's the libertarians that want to break down all the borders and not have a standardized country in itself, or whether it's the Jews that vote overwhelmingly 80% Democrat that want this utopia of Israel, of the Jewish state, that they'll always have a go-to. They always have an out to the Jewish state, but they want to destroy America because they are a parasitic people. They want to leverage everything they can over here to pull it over there. And you can apply that not to the same scale, but the same concept across the board, whether that's with the Mexicans coming over and sending remittance back to Mexico. I mean, Mexico's entire economy would crash almost overnight if we tax remittances at 100%. If we stop remittance, Mexico's GDP would drop drastically. And so this is all of these demographics that I'm laying out. They all have an idea of self-interest, but also an idea of what is America. America is this place of an American dream where I can be whatever I want to be, or I can send money back to Mexico, or I can create a parasitic empire to send money somewhere else, in this case Israel, to bomb Iran. Or you get to the point where we're talking about these libertarians and progressives. They're kind of in a similar camp where this game is racial. It is naturally a racial game. And so you have the libertarians and you have the blue hairs that want to not play the game. And so not acknowledging that the game is being played and then not playing the game is an automatic loss. You lose the game already. And so what that does is that allows for these other races to usurp what is and what has always been America. And so that, again, I guess it all boils down to everybody has this idea of America. You talk about Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar has this idea of America that is literally Somali.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard since the 60s of this melting pot of America, this multiracial, this multi-ethnic, this multicultural America, that diversity is our strength. And when it boils down to it, it's quite literally not. And so what happens is when you push that for so many decades, it destroys itself to the point where the voting bloc that sustains the country is barely even making it. The voting bloc that sustains this country is white evangelical votes, and that's not even debatable when it boils down to it. Some people like to call it the lone bulwark. Almost every other voting bloc votes something north of 70 to 80% Democrat against Republican.
Yes, and that basically, it goes to show you, like, to say that people are self-interested, it's like hot take. But the problem is not that they're self-interested, it's that they come here and they see America as a leg to stand on. It's not about coming here for a better life. It's about, like, in essence what it is, and of course they would never admit this, and they probably don't even think this, it is about leeching. Even if they have no intention of leaving, it is like, so why would like, I saw a video recently about this. He's kind of like what we are, but in Australia. And he's, like a white nationalist in Australia.
Who?
I don't remember his name, but he had a video about how there's this prominent Indian politician down there writing op-eds, and he's a politician and writing about how, like, the problem with Australia is it's too white. And of course they use the excuse of, like, the indigenous people and whatnot, but, like, someone from India, I'll use them as an example. Someone from India comes here from a country that by every metric is terrible. I mean, I'm sure they have, like, decent, like, education, but the problem is once you get to the highest award you can get for education in India is getting sent to America. And basically that's the thing, is they come here, and which is just natural behavior. They associate and affiliate with their own people, and they begin to change the neighborhoods they move into. They begin to change the places that they work at to reflect them. And the thought of, like, what will happen if we replace everybody here? What will happen to the country then? What if all the white people are extinct and it's just India now, India 2.0? The thought either never enters their head, or if it does, they see it as a good thing because they are not capable of recognizing the inherent. And I'll admit, like, I'll throw a bone to, like, people listening that are not white. It's easy for you and I, Zeb, to essentially say these kinds of things because you can trace your ancestry back to the founding of this nation. I can trace my ancestry back to the founding of this nation. So it's easy for us to say, look at how good we are because we are standing on what our ancestors built for us. So, I can't really put myself in their shoes because I don't come from a dysfunctional country. I don't come from a dysfunctional part of the world. And I get, there's lions and tigers and whatnot, but the fact of the matter is these people, they want to destroy America because it is a monument to everything that not only they are not, but what they could never be. Yeah.
I guess catch up on chat real quick. Loco Magus, I'm just gonna kind of go out on a limb here and say,
probably
might have a little Hispanic in him. He says America is finished. No one likes America because they think they're the police of the world. And me and Josh would largely agree with that. I think you would.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say America is finished. I guess it depends on how do you define America. And so no one likes America because they think they're the police of the world. We have thought we are the police of the world in the past. And I think the future is going to pan out that we are going to be more isolationist and more nationalistic than we have been in the past. If it is to remain any type of nation, whether the government remains or not. When you say everyone, do you mean the whole world? Yeah, I guess I'm not sure what position that is. But
well, I said in the title, why does everyone hate America?
Oh,
I mean,
basically, well, everyone not a Westerner does hate America in some form.
oh yeah, well, even Westerners do. Like even a lot of Europeans despise America.
That's
but
what we're about to get to here in a second. Somebody in the comments said, understand why someone like Ilhan Omar would want to kill America, but why would people who were born here and serve in government? The premise of the question assumes birthright makes you an American, and I would reject that outright. But let's just assume in good faith that you mean white. You mean someone that can trace their founding back, but they have the blue hair, right? They have the stereotypical liberal that does have some grounding in historical Americanism, maybe even back to colonial America. Communism is brainwashing, and not everyone can think for themselves. And so what has happened, at least in some of the older generation, is that this propaganda has been pushed on them through various forms, whether that's TV or whatever, that race isn't real, it's just a social construct, and it doesn't exist. And so they keep parroting these ideas, and they get in arguments of... I was watching the podcast right before this of Sam Hyde, and he said, I'm tired. He said, I'm done with arguments and questions of, is it just? I don't want to debate it anymore. It's because they don't want to debate anymore. The people that want to destroy America, whatever color they are, whatever their background is, they don't actually want the debates. They don't actually care about the merit. They just want the power and everything that comes with it.
right.
And this is across the board, even with the delusional blue-haired commies, whatever you want to call it. Even the libertarians want to wield the power for their libertarian will.
Yes. It's like, why, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, why are you even having a discussion
With
like,
people that want to kill you.
No, and not
Yes.
yeah, well, yeah, but it's like why like let's take Ilhan Omar. Let's just say not even her. Let's just take someone like her, exactly like her, with the same temperament, with the same beliefs, starts arguing with you about anything about like, well, should you have done this? Just look at her face. Just look at what she's wearing. Why am I talking to you? You're nothing like me. Why even bother?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And
that's
it's
what
like
that's what we have to understand is, well, there was an AI video come out yesterday, I believe. It says it was the authoritarian governor that got elected, and he's deporting this kind of Hispanic looking chick, and he says, you look like them, so you're getting deported basically. And unironically, yes.
well,
Like Ilhan Omar is not American. There is no world in which she could become an American.
mm-hmm.
And so she should not hold office. And so the question in the chat was, why would people who were born here and serve in government want to kill America?
Let me interject real quick here. To answer that question, it's not even about them like they're not killing what they perceive to be America.
Correct.
They think they are improving it by making it more like them because they believe it. Like there's some people like, you know,
And
I'm sure
I don't
Howard
blame
Lutnick.
them. I would probably do the same thing in their position, but that's what you have to understand.
Yes.
It's not about just, it's not about merit. It's about self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone is coming into our country, whatever color they are, whatever nationality they are, whether they're bought out by the Jews, dual citizens, brown, black, it doesn't matter. Whatever non-American they are going to act in the interest of themselves. And so therefore, it must be an American with a heritage that holds office. Just because you have a birthright, just because you're an anchor baby, doesn't make you an American. And I don't blame them for that thing. But in response, we have to acknowledge that okay, this person is going to act in their self-interest. Their self-interest has no care in the world of what America actually means. They're going to bend it to their will with the power that they have or they have acquired through the system that we have allowed them to acquire it through, and change the system so that the Americans that do exist cannot thrive in that system.
Mm-hmm. And the way I see it, I was thinking about this the other day too. The way I see it is like when Zeb and I, or really any of these people that are kind of like dipping their toe in or have been talking about, like James Taylor talking about the race IQ distinction, the problem and
Taylor.
Oh, Jared Taylor. What did I say? Jaden?
Okay.
James Taylor. Okay, yeah. Jared Taylor. Basically, like what these people and what we are arguing for is when we talk about this, we're not talking to the people we're talking about. We're not talking about Ilhan. We're not talking to Ilhan Omar. We're not talking to Dr. Umar. We're talking to the people like us because it's the white people. It is most of the heritage Americans that have bought the line that everyone is the same no matter what. It's simply upbringing. And that is clearly not true.
It's upbringing and a little bit of melanin.
Ilhan Omar is just as American as George Washington because she was born on this land.
Another thing, and this is more of where the boomers come from, is America is an idea. Right? If you just hold these values, that makes you an American. Well, one, we can't vet that. And two, if that was the case, then there is no point in having borders. We can just admit everyone at will. There's nothing saying that someone is illegal. There's nothing to say that we should deport people. If only there is a value system that you hold that makes you an American. And this is a major issue. I would even go as far as to say is that is loosely correct. I would say the blue-haired people that want to destroy what is America aren't American in themselves by values, but they might be by blood. Right? I think this is a blood and soul argument. It is personhood and values that make you an American. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the point being is like there's people like we both met Malarkey. He's black. I don't know if he's still listening, but basically there are people that kind of get it. And there are people that actually do buy the line about like unity and stuff like that. And the thing is I wish it were true. Like that's what I believed growing up. I didn't become like a white nationalist because I think that's better and I just hate black. It's not true. But I wish it were the case. But just the longer time goes on, the worse things get, the more illegals come here, the more you import the third world, the more you get the third world. And then you start to ask yourself, why is that? And then you start to realize, why are the black communities in America becoming just as bad as the black communities in Africa? Why are all the same conditions being recreated here? Why are all the same conditions that make Mexico such a crappy place to live being recreated in these little Mexican settlements in Charlotte, North Carolina? Why is it exactly the same? What did coming here like make them better? They're the same when they come here in large quantities of people. They bring their problems with them. And when you do that, you make assimilation impossible, which you and I would argue just is impossible in general.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of nuance there, but I'll just go ahead and blanket statement that assimilation isn't real. Like I said, I'm listening. I'll call in. All right, brother. We'll open that up. I guess it's open now, but give us about 15 minutes and we can start this up 3:30. Sam No says, "What do we have here? A bunch of magatards."
Not me. I didn't vote for the Don, and I think he's betrayed us. Although I would imagine either he's like an uber conservative or a liberal. I would imagine liberal.
I don't know. Welcome to the stream either way. Stick around. Maybe we'll disagree. Maybe we'll agree on some things. We are not cultist by any definition. Well, Josh is kind of a groiper, but I'll throw him
Unabashed.
under the bus there. How sure are you that we will become nationalistic? I am 100% sure.
I am too, and we've
It
talked
is an
about
inevitability.
I've talked about this before with you. I'm sure we will too, but my fear is, will it be too late?
I'm 100% sure we will become nationalistic. The question is how. Whether that is a splintering of the nation into, or the country into subdivided nations, right? So, and I've said this before, that I think the South whites are different nationalistically, different with respect to culture and nation than Yankees are. Now, this is way down the list when it comes to deportations of Yankees back to the North, but it does lend to the point of either we become more nationalistic and the country remains a country, or the country fails and nationalism becomes on the rise regardless of a country and its borders. Does that make sense?
No, I get
Answer
it.
the question.
I get what you're saying.
I think it's inevitability. Again, I think Josh's point is kind of got some weight to it too. How long
Because
is the question? It might be 5
us.
years. It might be 50, but inevitably it will. Ninja, did I read his other chat? Ninja said everybody hates America because it has a strongly Christian backbone. It does still have a strongly Christian backbone. It's like I was saying earlier, the voting bloc that remains, that keeps Republicans in office, is evangelical Christians. For whatever dispensationalist argument that you have against it, that is who maintains at least some order in the country. Libs don't have any values. They have a valid value of intolerant tolerance, I would say.
They value themselves.
They are anti-American by our definition, and by their definition, pro-American, because they believe America is freedom to do whatever you will. And we believe America is, in a value sense, America is liberty, and that you have a freedom to do what you ought to do, not what you will.
And and also there's just this like nihilistic pessimism that has spread throughout like white America. Because I've got a friend, he's a good friend of mine, and he's on the same page about a lot of things that you and I are. Like he's racist, he's sexist, he's homophobic, he's all the goody good
Checking all the boxes.
He's all the goody good stuff, but he also thinks it's stupid to like have national pride. He goes, why would anyone be proud of their, you know, it's like, it's this complete pessimism. It's this complete nihilism where nothing matters whatsoever. And I think a lot of people that's infected the ideology of most people, whether they realize it or not. And a lot of people can't handle it. So the only comfort they find is comfort in, what's the word? Like in the mass, you know, like comfort in popularity, you know, going with the flow, comfort in the status quo. Being, you know, like
a lot of people that do that want to kind of pan nationalism to the side as valueless, essentially, will be the same people that cheer on a football team just because they were born close to it. You'll have somebody born in Pennsylvania that's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan for their entire lives. It doesn't matter where they move to, they're a Pittsburgh fan. But then they'll deny a nationalistic idea.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't compute to me.
Well, and I think it's a byproduct of not the fact that we have a partisan or bipartisan system, but the fact that the nation, as we become more diverse, we become more divided. And, you know, basically what you're seeing now, people vote like your average normie. They vote Republican because they say things that they agree with. They're okay with deporting the Hispanics. They're okay with building a wall. But then it's like Lindsey Graham, who's gay and like doesn't do anything. You know, it can't get anything done. So they're pessimistic because even on the conservative side, they're pessimistic because again, nothing ever happens.
Nothing ever happens.
Want. Until it will.
Yeah, Sparky, I hope that answered your question a little bit on the nationalistic idea, but you followed up with, so we have nationalism while we are dictated by, why is that so small? While we are dictated by a technocratic Palantir new system that will take away our freedoms. Doesn't sound better than what we have now. Yeah, the Palantir thing, this is gonna sound bad, but I'm not sold either way on Palantir yet. I think, because I was thinking about this the other day, me and Josh argues for somewhat a more authoritarian style government. And so the nature of that must bring about some system that would be classified under a Palantir type system. And so that's something that I'm going to have to wrestle with later on. I can't do it on stream, but I like to remain logically consistent, and I think I have to acknowledge that. Well, and I know you're going to disagree. I mean, would I rather it not be Peter Thiel? Obviously. Obviously, I don't want a gay Jew running Palantir with all of our socials and all of CCTV and everything else that we have on the internet, and all mashed up into one massive AI system of a crystal ball that they can look into and manipulate reality. Because that's basically what it is. Would I argue that, yeah, we probably shouldn't have that? Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's like, this is why at the end of the day, because believe it or not, Zeb, I actually agree with you. But I think what we're arguing for, like, this is part of the reason we are arguing to increase nationalism, increase this American pride and unity amongst real heritage Americans, because once we create the conditions that you had post Revolutionary War. I mean, of course, nothing's ever perfect, but like the 1950s, you didn't need to have a database on everyone because we trusted each other. There was a sense, like, you could leave your door unlocked because you knew all your neighbors. You knew no one was going to run into your house and steal all your stuff. Anyway, but like the point being is, like, with the more minorities we have, the more of the third world we get, the more problems we create, which is why, again, in principle, I agree with you. It is okay for us to have a Palantir type system where we monitor people until things get back. Because I'm okay with state surveillance as long as every time some black teenager loots a store, he gets thrown in jail. Yeah, again, I'm okay with it for that purpose, for arresting criminals. And then once we get back to a place where that is no longer necessary, then we can start to have the privacy conversation.
Again, it boils back to this. It's not the system itself necessarily. It's the people running the system. If you have corrupt people running a system, the system is then corrupt. The system by its very nature is not corrupt. It is who controls it. And I'd prefer not to have non-Americans running an American system. This kind of answers the question that Sam posed here. I guess not really your question, but I want to address it. Everybody hates America because they don't fully practice their First Amendment like they advertise. Yes, I mean, I'm not a free speech absolutist.
No, me neither.
Yeah, so we're both, neither of us are free speech absolutists, but I am pro First Amendment. But the problem is the First Amendment has been usurped in many, many ways. Mm-hmm. It's been usurped because it was baked into the Constitution for it to be allowed to be usurped. And so this is the problem when you have non-Americans running government office, when you have non-Americans making laws in America. They don't respect what America is and therefore can change the thing, right? The Constitution is a moving document. There's no grounding in the Constitution. The Constitution isn't a Bible. The Bible is grounded and will never change. The Constitution is ever changing. Not only is the Constitution ever changing, it can be usurped by greater laws such as the Civil Rights Act, such as the Supreme Court's decision on Brown v. Board of Education, right? I go back to this, it's just the most obvious, right? So if you desegregate a place, if you have forced desegregation at gunpoint, it is by its very nature nullifying the First Amendment of freedom of association. If I'm a cake baker and I am forced by the Supreme Court to bake a cake for some faggots, that is nullifying my First Amendment. And it's not just the Jews. I think that's what you're probably hinting at too, but it's across the board. You have to have American values as a whole to appreciate what the Constitution is, or was rather. But the Constitution is not what it was because we have allowed non-Americans to create laws. We have allowed non-Americans to hold justice positions. Coincidentally, the non-American is probably the most conservative justice on the court, Josh.
Yeah. And that's the
I
problem.
mean, we got Clarence Thomas on the court, and we got Stephen Miller in the administration. It's like, these are only two people that are actually serious about making America America again, at least from an ideals perspective. Nobody else is actually serious.
I don't think anyone is. Ninja says, is Peter Thiel Christian though, or nominally at least? No, he is a open homosexual, and he's like Elon. He's like a atheist. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do Christians kill their boyfriends at their birthday parties?
Did he buy a baby?
Peter Thiel, no,
Not
I don't
yet.
think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay. It's coming. Don't worry. Baby Una says, sometimes I think the left and the right are two sides of the same coin, don't you think? I mean, okay, so the question is basically horseshoe theory. I disagree. I don't believe horseshoe theory is true, but I do. You do have to acknowledge that there are positions where there is overlap. I think that's just the nature of politics, I guess. We think about politics as left and right, and there's a matrix that exists that has your socially conservative, socially liberal, authoritarian, libertarian, and so that's on a two plane. You're obviously going to have some overlap there if you're. Why am I thinking too hard about this? If you're authoritarian right and authoritarian left, you're going to obviously have some overlap on authoritarianism. If you're authoritarian right and libertarian right, you're going to have some overlap on this right. But it's far more complicated than this. I mean, people are individuals for the most part, and they can make decisions for themselves. This is why I guess we just operate on a two-plane system because a dichotomy is necessary for elections. Inevitably, there will only be two parties in an election. I know in Europe they have a bunch of parties. It's virtually two parties. They just go by different names. And so you have the left and right, and you have Republicans, Democrats, and they're respectfully each other, if you will.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Baby, you want to know when Laughing Dog talking about King James Bible was edited?
Why are y'all talking about the King James Bible?
Well, I mean, we can get into this, but I've been listening to a lot of some of the Stone Choir. They're in the middle of a Septuagint series that y'all need to check out. Stone Choir. And
I forgot about that, dude. I need to watch it.
They're talking about the Septuagint and how everybody in the New Testament quoted the Greek. They quoted the Septuagint, not the Masoretic text. The Masoretic text was edited for different things.
Do you want to go ahead and throw it to the audience? Start doing lives?
There's a link in chat or description. I'll throw it in chat also for anyone that wants to zoom in, and we can take calls for whatever the topic is you want to discuss. I hope I answered everybody's question that was kind of throwing it out there so far. Jim from Florence said, do you have nationalism for your country or your government? No matter what happens to our government, our country will live on. Yeah, there's a defining of terms here. I think if you said our nation will live on, maybe. I wouldn't even agree with that. I mean, genocides exist, dude.
Yeah. And not even like, it doesn't even have to be like a mass execution, though it will be that in the end, if it gets to that point. But
you can breed out.
Yeah, you can breed people out of existence.
You can breed out nations.
Before.
Just like you can create nations, you can breed out nations. nationalism is not going to be the next thing. Sorry, it will be technocracy. I think we already live in a technocracy.
Yeah, I mean, if Sparky, if your concern, Sparky, is that we're under like what's the word I'm looking for here, like anarcho tyranny technocratic system, it already exists. I mean,
Palantir is just
coming.
collectivizing it.
Yeah.
The CIA, NSA, FBI, we're already being spied on by Apple and Windows and Android and everybody else.
That's my thing, is like someone was talking about VPN. I'm like, VPNs are a scam. If the government wants your information, a VPN is not going to stop them.
Let me see. Malarkey's calling. Let me see if I can get him.
Malarkey. We won't dox you.
Yo, what's up,
right.
man?
Oh, I hear him.
Second. Okay, you going?
You're too close to the camera.
Cool. No, he's going.
Oh, no, I
Yes, I was afraid you wouldn't get it.
Oh man.
How's it going?
Yeah, but he's light skinned though.
I know.
He gets a little bit of leeway. He's like,
I'm giving him go.
Can chat hear you? I don't think so. Hold on. Let me see if I can add you.
Give us a second.
How do I?
Malarkey, we're working out some technical issues.
I think I have to add you to the screen, actually. Not what I wanted to do.
You go back to John. He stole the show.
Okay, I think
Oh my
all right, talk to me now real quick.
Say something, Malarkey.
Hey,
Yeah,
test,
all right, we're
test.
good now.
All right. What's up,
your
brother?
full black screen? Hey, how y'all doing, man?
Doing
You got
good.
a black screen on your end?
Well, it was up there for a second. I have y'all up on my TV too right now, but I'm calling in from my phone.
Okay, that'll work. All right, I got a question for you. I was
up?
looking through chat, and Solo dropped by, and he said something. What was FBA? What is FBA? Learn me something real quick.
So FBAs are basically they're this group of black people. They call themselves foundationally Black Americans, and basically they basically oppress anybody who's not a foundationally Black American. None of them really knows what it actually means. They're just like, oh, they kind of trace it back to lineage of like, okay, if you were descendants of slavery in America, then you're a foundationally Black American. So they wouldn't consider Haitians Black. They wouldn't consider, any other group of Black people Black. So like Myron, they attack Myron all the time, and they say he's not Black because he's, Middle Eastern.
Sudanese.
But it's like, in America, they're gonna see him as a Black person. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not really.
I'm not.
Dr. Umar says the same bullshit too. So.
Dr. Umar does?
Well, he's not necessarily a FBA, but he says the same bullshit about like, oh, he'll be like, oh, we're all from Africa, so we should all go to Africa and live in Africa. But his dumb ass doesn't know that they won't accept us in Africa. I don't know why he says that.
Okay. Yeah. See. So
hold on. I'm confused here. Is it foundational FBA, foundational Black Americans? Are they talking about kind of what I mentioned earlier, where they're like, oh, we are more American than the Haitian immigrants, or are they saying Black people founded America?
It would be like, no. He's saying FBAs are a separate nation.
It's basically a lineage type of deal, and they'll basically like discriminate against anybody who isn't foundational. You know what I mean? And like I see in chat, like Myron is Arab, but it's like in America, is he going to be seen as an Arab? Probably not.
Okay, let me.
I honestly think he kind of does look more middle. I know it's kind of jury's kind of out, but
I think he does. He's definitely Arabic.
Yeah,
more Arabic.
He looks
he looks Arab to me, but I'm saying
exactly.
Like I feel like I feel like most white people would just see like, oh, that's a Black guy. You know what I mean?
It would be like, let's say, it would be like somebody that's Irish that came from Ireland, came over here as a couple and had a baby. That baby doesn't become American in the same way that just because Myron's mom and dad came over here, and even if they were West African and had Myron, he wouldn't be FBA. I think they are
Right.
loosely. I mean, I would probably disagree with them on some of the nuanced points, but I do think.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. They're the same type of people who y'all don't like, where it's like they complain about literally everything, and that black people need reparations, and black people this and
Okay.
black people that. And that's why I'm talking a lot in the chat about, like, because growing up in high school, I'm pretty young, I'm 21, but even like in middle school and high school, you know, the people who were so worried about race all the time were black people. My white classmates and my white, like, I played basketball, but most of the kids on the basketball team were white. They didn't give a shit that I was black. They just didn't give a shit. The only people who ever mentioned, race is when I would go visit family, or when I was around the other black kids at school. And the black kids at school were tribal as fuck. Like, we went to a majority white school, and the black kids were really, really tribal, and they would talk back to the teachers, and they would, make fun of some of the white kids, and they would bully some of the white kids, and you better not buck back at them, because then they'll cry racism. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up, I went to school, at least up until high school, into a majority black area. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But the problem is, I live in the Bible Belt, and there is a large FBA population, if you will. And so once you get outside of that, a lot of these people, when you go up to some of the New England places, even in Vermont, Connecticut, Maine, up there, it's very malarkey. Sam's
very
like, you
what?
sound like a cracker.
Yeah, I
But once
I
you go
got
up
that a
there,
lot from the black kids in school.
yeah, there's very not negligence. What the word I'm thinking about?
Negligent.
No, ignorant. They're just ignorant to the case. I mean, if you go out to Montana, like, I wouldn't expect them to understand the position of someone from Atlanta, right? Because they don't have the same life
What are they
experience.
ignorant to specifically?
The nature of races, of living in a multi-ethnic location, at least from a local standpoint, right? So somebody from Maine, I mean, how many blacks are in Maine, dude? I mean, even if you talk to Myron,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
where is he from?
Yeah.
Connecticut?
He's from
Vermont,
Connecticut.
one of those
Yeah.
places?
This is something I ran into with my ex-girlfriend from Minnesota. Is she didn't have much of a
Naive.
Yes.
Naive.
Yeah, she had a very naive understanding of the situation, because she grew up in northern Minnesota, where there is nothing going, like there's no black people. She has very
Yeah.
fanciful idea of the situation.
It sounds like I need to move to Minnesota.
You could
Have
be
fun.
the first, dude.
Yeah.
Go for it. Well,
That's what she told me, is the black people that are there are all like Somalians. You know, they're all like first
Oh, shit,
generation
never mind.
immigrants.
they're taking
Yeah.
over.
Never mind.
Yeah. And they're all in like
Yeah, never mind.
Minneapolis and St. Paul, though.
We got to liberate Minnesota, boys. Let's liberate Minnesota. Send ice. They need some help.
No,
over
but
there.
it's
got
like,
plenty of it.
I mean, even where I'm from, I'm not from too far from where y'all are at. And I actually have some family in Florence. I've been there quite a bit. There's quite a bit of black people in Florence, depending on which part you're in. And it's like
There's
it was
a massive Indian population that's recently been popping up. But yeah,
Really?
it is significantly black too.
I'm more familiar with the Swan Lake area. I don't know how far away from
It's all
that
about the
y'all
same around here, man.
but like, yeah, but even where I'm from, it's like it was a good mix. Like, obviously, like, we're the majority in this country, so we're gonna be the majority pretty much wherever we're at. But it's like it was a good mix of people, and I didn't really deal with like any racism really. Like, I had this one kid in middle school call me the hard R, and that was about it. And like, even then, I didn't really give a shit. Like, it didn't really affect me in any way. But my sister, dude, she's like the complete opposite. She tried to tell my family that lives up north, like, oh, the people in Asheville are racist. And I'm like, no, the hell they're not. It's like we grew up in the same house, but we live in completely different worlds. You know what I mean?
There is like a thing in the black community where it's like like Boy Scouts have badges. They get like there's someone call me the A like with an A, someone call me with a hard R. Someone touch my hair, you know, like they it's like a
Yeah,
bragging thing. It's almost like
touching
a
hair
hazing thing.
You know, I'm actually glad you brought that up because the touching hair thing, I truly don't get it. Maybe it's just different for girls, but like I have dreads, right? And I used to have an afro. And when the white girls wanted to touch my hair, I was like, shit, bet, yeah, y'all can touch my hair. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't really bother me that much. And I don't think a lot of black people say that it's racist that like white people want to touch your hair. It's like, no, our hair is just different and people get curious about shit. Like it's really not that deep. Like our hair is just different. You know what I mean? Or when a
Yeah.
white girl puts some braids in her hair, it's cultural appropriation. It's like I see Sexy Red walking around with a blonde wig. Is that cultural appropriation too, or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like, and this was like something I thought of when I was in middle school. Was essentially, it's like I feel and I was wrong about this aspect of it, but I felt like all of the civil problems, like racism and whatnot, I thought they were all resolved. But people just have this drive in them for like social justice, so they just make
Hmm.
problems, like making up,
Yeah,
like, well,
I
why
agree.
does this white girl want to touch my hair? It's like, what's the
Yeah,
big
I mean,
deal?
yeah,
Just say no.
it's really not a big deal, dude. Like honestly, I feel like we don't help each other in the black community, and that's the thing that you notice in so many other communities, like in the Hispanic communities and even the Jewish community, the white community. They help each other out. Everywhere I live, like everywhere I've lived, everywhere I visit, they help each other out. They pick up their own. Black people don't pick up their own; they kill each other. So it's like, but then
Hmm.
we'll kill each other and then point our finger at the white man, and it's like
Hmm.
how do we bring ourselves up in this country if we just believe that this country is oppressing us all the time? Even if
Well,
they
it's
were,
like
it wouldn't make sense to buy into that.
yes, it's like same thing in like some of the Southern Baptist churches is that they take this pride in being persecuted.
Yeah.
It's like
Hmm.
I'm being persecuted, therefore I'm virtuous. And I think that is a little bit kind of where you're coming from too, where the black
Hmm.
community, if you're not being shouted down
Persecuted.
at with
Yeah.
words through persecution, however, then you're not virtuous enough, and it
Hmm.
tends to create a worse culture, I think.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%, dude. I mean, but that's what I just never really understood. Like I'm one of the black people who actually has both parents in the home, and they've been married for almost 20 years. And I think that is a bigger deal than I thought it was when I was growing up, because I thought it was normal because I saw all my friends that were like white, their parents were married too. But then when I look around, like the divorce rate is really high. A lot of people come from single parent homes, and that plays a big role. But my father and other men in my family that are successful, they told me like you gotta go get it out on your own. You gotta work hard, and I don't see anything that's more American than that. You have to work hard and earn the things that you want in life. And that's all what I've been told. I haven't been. Some of my family members have tried to tell me, like, oh, the white man is going to do this and the white man is going to do that. But when I look at my dad, who's successful, and I look at my uncle, who works in the federal government, who is in the military, he's successful. And it's like they didn't ask for any handouts. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't understand when I look at people like that in my own family, I'm like, why can't more black people be like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, the greatest predictor of success isn't IQ. It isn't some genetic thing. It is,
Hmm.
are there two parents in the home? And a culture
Hmm.
that doesn't encourage that, I think we can point at the black culture specifically here. I think it's something like 26% of them grow up in two parent
It's the
households,
highest
which is
percentage.
insane.
Yeah.
And and so if you have numbers that low, and then the success metric, or at least the biggest predictor of success is two parents
It's
in
the
the
biggest
household,
correlate. Yeah.
yeah, the obvious conclusion is they're going to be unsuccessful, and a compounding unsuccessful generation on top of each other is going to lead to a necessary persecution for virtue. I think that's the inevitability of it. I don't know what comes after that though is a problem.
Yeah, it's tough, man, and that's why I'm gonna end up race mixing, Josh. Man, I can't help it, dude. I can't help it,
Well,
man.
here's what I'll tell you. If you
There's
do
good.
it,
There's look for, like I said, look up that what's her name, Taylor Russell. That's like the kind of black girl you need to look for.
well,
Who's that?
Malarkey, I'll go ahead and say this. Chat was talking when you first jumped on. He said he sounds like a cracker. He sounds white. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to?
A good thing. Congratulations. He's light skinned with dress,
suppose.
boys. I'll go ahead and out him right now. Sam said he's got 5 minutes. I'm glad Sam's running the
Well,
show.
Well, I'm not that. I'm lighter skinned. I'll say that. I'm lighter
Pretty
skinned.
light skinned.
I want to say like I'm not a product of the Jadens with the white mom and the black dad. You know what I mean? I'm lighter skinned, but not light skinned. But Josh, I want your position. I don't want to take up too much time. I don't know when y'all want to boot me, but
We're chilling.
We're chilling. No one
but
else is calling.
okay. Josh, what do you expect me to do, dude? You look at the dating market and you see what I got to deal with, okay? Because Western women in general already suck, okay? They're not virtuous. Feminism has ruined them all, and especially in the black community, it's freaking ridiculous. What else am I supposed to do but look for a snow bunny, dude? I
Well,
already talk like them.
Or go east.
You know what I
I
mean?
think here's the thing though, is this problem is going to persist no matter who you are and where you do. You're not going to find any relief in the white community that you would that you're like. There's really no difference, because the thing is, because think about it like this: is there a difference between white women and black women? Sure, but
1,000%.
Sorry.
He said 1,000%.
I said
Oh,
1,000%.
sure. But women have their own nature that supersedes race. And the thing is women are extremely materialistic, and honestly, they're very childlike. And they have this pursuit of like fantasy. And you find that, and like you said Western women, American women, they're very spoiled. Black, white, doesn't matter who you are. That's just the way it is. I mean, I'm white and I'm looking for a white woman. I can't find one. The market is slim, just period. And so now let me pose are you a Christian?
Yeah,
I
Josh.
can't remember.
No, I'm pretty secular, but Josh, I know you're not looking for any black chicks. Like even if you did, even if you were okay with race mixing, I just know you wouldn't be looking for any black chicks, dude. Like keep it real.
No. And but here's the thing. Do you find black women attractive, or at least some of them?
Yeah, it's mainly the attitude though. And okay, for me, like the really main things I look for is like, are you not a fat ass? And do you
Oh,
not have a
sure.
terrible attitude? And when statistically, a majority of black women in this country are overweight. They're the fattest demographic in the fattest country in the world. Like that fucking sucks. You know what I mean? And I'm not even talking shit. That's just objectively true. So it's like when you look at that and you match it with the attitude and then the victim mentality, and most of them aren't conservative. I'm pretty right leaning for a black person. It says by an Asian girl, but but yeah, it's just it's hard not to look elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say this. Here's a compromise, kind of in line with that last comment. If you're gonna race mix, just do something other than white, okay? Find yourself a big booty Latina. Like they're definitely attractive.
Well, let me add this. I don't really. I'm older. I've been married over a decade now. I haven't been in the market. I missed out on all of the. Thankfully, I missed out on all of the dating apps and everything. So, I mean, I have an idea of what it's like, but I don't understand. Just like, I don't have that experience. So when it comes to that, I mean, I got nothing for you, man. But what I will say is I don't agree with race mixing, and from my perspective, I do think it is majority of the time it is sinful. But from a practical standpoint, I would advise against it just because, well, for many reasons. One of them, I guess the primary one I would look at would be your children will be confused and they won't have an identity to hold on to. I know that's really far down the line, and it narrows this search for someone.
Yes.
But I think you would be better off sticking with your people.
And the thing is people more often than not find harmony amongst their own people. This is why, like, Zeb and I are both Christians, yet we say, yet we're critical of like other races, the black community, whatever, other religions and whatnot, because at the end of the day, like, we have a human nature, and we have a nature within human subgroups, like our race, for example. And the fact of the matter is, in the same way you said, you don't want to be with a fat girl. Is it like, obviously not because they're unattractive, but it's also because the being fat is indicative of other problems they have, right?
Yeah.
And so with that being said, is when you marry outside your race, you will run into like that will cause problem. In the same way, like Zeb and I had talked about this before, when you marry someone who has had multiple sexual partners beforehand, you will inevitably run into problems within the marriage, especially the more that they've had. So you should aim for the less problematic choice. And it is a choice. Like we're both Christians. I don't think either of us believe that like God has a specific person that you absolutely will marry. I think it is a choice.
Wouldn't from my perspective, the less problematic choice would be anything other than a black woman? And I'm not just hating on black women, but y'all understand.
Yeah, I understand the perspective.
Believe me, dude, we get it. Like but they are out there. You know what I mean? I've met black girls that are really, really nice. And literally I've thought to myself, like, man, if you were white, this would be great. But
here, you just gotta look, you know. Let me add this one time.
They're not in Asheville, I'll tell you that.
Anybody that you're going to marry, any possibility is going to come with baggage. That's just the nature of people. You have to mitigate that as much as you can. And reaching across ethnicities is inherently going to add more baggage, almost exponentially, than not. And so you probably need to weigh that against itself. Again, I mean,
okay,
I know the dating market is just garbage across the board right now, just because, for very many reasons. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, let me ask y'all this, because you see, I don't know if y'all watch sports at all, but you see like NBA players, NFL players, like these successful black athletes. They get drafted, they sign a big bag. They're getting some millions, right? They're almost always married to a white girl. Why do y'all think that is?
Well, for a various number of reasons. It's transactional. One is a trophy, and the other is for money.
Okay.
Translate that.
So you don't think those marriages are genuine?
Well, I mean, it's case by case.
I'm not going to say all of them.
Yeah, like I'm not. Yeah, well, like I'm not saying that every single white husband, black wife, white husband that have been in a relationship didn't love each other, and that it wasn't even a good marriage up to a point. Our point is that you're going to, like, you will cause problem. Like, there will be unforeseen problems. And you know, and honestly, Zach, like, I feel for the guy.
I mean, if I
'Cause-
was in Maloney's position, I would probably doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't blame
Well,
him.
hang on. Well, why do y'all think so many? Because I'll be honest, like from who I've dated and who I talked to throughout high school and college, it's been majority white girls. Not only because that's what I'm around, but that's the main party that has shown me love. And I see that it's become more popular for black men to date outside of their race. And when white women date outside of their race, it's typically black. Why do y'all think, from the white perspective, why do you think so many white women are choosing black men?
It's a fetish. And I
In
don't mean
some
that.
positions,
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
No,
a
no,
fetish
that's
in
not
that
offensive. Yeah.
it is exotic to them.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
It in a lot of cases, it's a rejection of their father. It
But I
is
would also-
like, because girls these days are just riddled with daddy issues, and to go complete opposite of their dad in every way, including race, is like a jab, whether they realize it or not. How, like, and you
What
know,
about the ones who
it's
have good fathers? Like you
huh?
see a lot of, I
Yeah,
see
some of them have. A
what
lot
about
of
the
them
ones
have
who
good
have good
fathers.
fathers? Like, because I see like with the athletes, for example, some of these women that meet the athlete in college,
It's
say like at
transactional.
Kentucky, they say they meet a Kentucky basketball player at Kentucky, and they were like a volleyball player or whatever. They typically come from a good family, or sometimes even a rich family, yet they still are dating outside of their race. I just chalk it up to two people met each other and they're attracted to each other. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Sure,
let me see if
sure.
I can break it down like this. Each case is going to be slightly different. I would say the majority of them are transactional, right? The snow bunny is a trophy, and the athlete is the funds, right? The wallet.
Mhm.
And we can look at, anybody that's successful is going to essentially get what they want to some extent. And that is the case. Kind of to your point, the ones that come from good families, I guess to reiterate Josh's point earlier, is that there is an exotic aspect to it where this uniqueness or something that they haven't always been around kind of carries a little bit of that too. On top of, women are, I don't know if Ho Math has done an episode on this, but he probably needs to, is women are attracted to, I know he's done on this, women are attracted to bad boys, if you will. And so the extreme of that is the male athlete. Well, I mean, what is OJ, right? This is what you're getting after, and this is the inevitability of chasing that bad boy dream. And so who can get their way when it comes to that? It would be the ones that are the most attractive women, regardless of their social status prior to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I was actually talking to my friend about that the other day, about like how it's kind of weird because I've kind of been on both ends of it, to where I was like the bad boy per se, and girls treated me way better than when I was trying to be like genuine and like chivalrous and stuff like that. It's kind of odd when you're on both sides of it. I mean, I don't know how it was, back when you were, before you got married, Zeb, but like that's something I've noticed since high school, and even now that I'm almost done with college.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of women. I mean, throughout history, that's just the nature.
Hmm.
That's just the nature of men too. That's just, I don't know. That's just how it works. And there's no level of education or indoctrination or cultural change that will change that. You can only temper what is nature.
Right.
Does that make sense? Right, because everybody understands that the nice guy is never going to rule the world.
Yeah. But
So-
even though on paper that's what they should be looking for, you know what I mean? Like that kind of
I don't
safe
know. I
option.
don't know if I agree with that.
I like night and like bad boy.
Well, when it
doesn't
comes to treatment,
necessarily
when it
mean
comes to
bad boy.
treatment,
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
yeah,
if
I
they
guess
can
we're
have
kind of
both, sure,
equivocating
but
a little bit.
that doesn't exist. So they would prefer safety through someone that is aggressive than
Hmm.
be in a position of what's the word I'm looking for? Scaredness. What's the word I'm looking for?
Intimidation?
No, a position of exposure,
Dominance?
vulnerability. They would prefer to not be vulnerable, and that's through they would prefer that safety, whether that's through an aggressive male that's willing to protect, or someone that is successful that can pay for whatever that safety mechanism would be in their mind.
And
Right.
and like kind of to kind of nail the coffin and will not finish the conversation, but it's like I was saying earlier, how women are childlike. This persists their entire life, and you know, a woman who has a hard job, like a woman who goes through the ranks of being a like all the way up to being a doctor or something like that, or being a congresswoman, they can't subvert their nature, no matter how hard they try to appear so. And the truth is women crave comfort and security over all else. And so when a man is aggressive and dismissive, even to them, that is a signal that they are like, oh, he's in a romantic relationship with me and he treats me, you know, he's not beating me and stuff, but there's the threat that he might. Like, I'm not 100% sure that he won't. So how's he treating people that he's not in a romantic relationship in? She feels secure. And again, this is all subconscious. This is not something that they're like even completely aware of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I see what you're saying.
I think. How old are you, Malarkey?
He said 21.
I'm 21.
Oh, you're young, dude.
Yeah. Don't even.
I mean, granted, I was
don't
married
even
at
worry about
21, but you're still young. Was I
Yeah.
married at 21? I think I got married.
Yeah, I'm
at
21,
26.
dude. But you know, it's something I think about. Recently, I'm like checked out. I'm got more hours at my job. I'm taking summer classes. You know, I'm about to graduate soon, so I'm
Yeah,
worried
dude.
about
If I had to give you
you
some
know
advice,
getting a
dude,
job.
if I had to
Yeah.
give you some advice, I would say don't worry about the women. You need to burn about 3 to 4 years of just head down. Because here's the thing, you're being bombarded, dude. There's essentially no way out for people your age,
Right.
unless you've already made it. And so you either have to win the lottery through creating something, or you're just going to be a cog in a wheel for the rest of your life. And that's brutal to say, but I think that is
No, no,
necessarily the
I
case.
already know that. My dad taught me that. You know, and that's why we're trying to get into the real estate game because that's
Yeah.
where you get a lot of freedom. You know what I mean? If
Yeah,
you
I
do
mean,
it
if you can
correctly.
do it, for sure. But like I said,
Yeah.
dude, I would say I wouldn't even if a woman comes up in the next 3 years, that's fine. I would not waste my time in pursuit of it.
Yeah.
Until you could
Yeah,
stabilize
I agree.
yourself.
Let it
I
happen
agree.
if it happens, but don't seek it out.
Yeah. Recently, that's how I've been feeling. It's been feeling like a huge waste of time. So I'm just kind of, but I like to hear y'all's thoughts on, you know, when it comes to race and, you know, like the interracial dating aspect, because I'm probably like the youngest person in the chat. So those are the topics that I'm more
Yeah.
interested in most of the time. Like, because I'm like when Myron first started with Fresh and Fit, I was listening to him. You know, I listen to Andrew Wilson all the time. He goes on whatever quite a bit, you know. So
Yeah, I'm gonna start
it's kind
reaching
of
out to some
interesting
other
to look.
people. Hopefully I can jump on some of their podcasts. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think I started off with this. I'm not a relationships guy. Like
Yeah.
that's just not me. That's not what I'm here for. But I mean, I try to see things as they are, and then we take them from there. I mean, if I had to end it, I would say it would be preferable for, I think, everyone if you could find someone like you, and that's just
Hmm.
not just a racial statement. That's across the board.
And here's the thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like again,
Go ahead.
I know like if it comes to that point and you're like, okay, I've acquired the bag and I'm ready to settle down and get married, and you're having trouble finding one like organically, and you go on the dating apps. Many of these dating apps, you can set political preferences. Like obviously not 10,
Right.
you
Can
know.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
On Hinge
on
you
Hinge,
can.
that's the one I
Yeah.
used.
I know you can set
you can
like
set
height preferences for women or something, but
no, you can set like like on Hinge at least you can do
Yeah.
Christian and conservative, and then put check on the check mark. This is a deal breaker, meaning it will
Yeah.
filter out everyone that is
Completely.
not one of those people.
huh?
And
Yeah.
again, doesn't
But
mean that once you
there's
do
not that
that,
many
they're all going to be
conservative black
raining down.
chicks.
See, like I said, I don't know anything about these dating
I'm
apps.
waiting.
That's interesting.
We should
though.
make a
Yeah.
dating app where you can filter by race and BMI.
Yeah, but
They
that's kind
probably
of
have
why I
them. You just
started.
have to get the accounts.
That's kind of why I
Good.
started getting into a lot of the streamers, is because like I would notice these dynamics and like a difference in values, and then once I realized that, that like got me, learning about geopolitics and more about actual real politics and stuff like that. Because there is, especially like um, Gen Z is very, very divided, and when it comes to like values and beliefs. And it does reflect in my real life. Like a lot of people do not see things the same way. You know what I
All right,
mean?
here we go, boys. Here, I'm gonna pitch this to you. Groundbreaking idea, right? We're talking about Palantir. We're talking about they have access to everybody's everything. I'm gonna create a dating app. It's gonna be called Palantir Dating App. We're just gonna pull all the information out of Palantir and just start aligning soulmates together. We're just gonna arrange marriages across the board, run it through an AI system. Everybody gets a girlfriend, everybody gets a boyfriend, everybody's getting married. It's just arranged from top down through Palantir's system of collected data.
Unironically,
I win.
unironically though, I feel like the world would be a better place if there were like America
Arranged
would be better
marriage?
if there were arranged marriages where your parents.
I'm split on arranged marriages.
I
man.
agree.
I
No, I agree
honestly,
with Josh.
I kind of feel it because there was this one girl that like my whole life growing up at church, my parents were like, you should marry her. You should marry her. And I was like, hey, no, man, no. And then like she's married now, but like, I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
that totally would have worked, you know?
Josh,
But,
I
yeah,
thought you had
well,
I thought you had
it's
a
the thing.
girlfriend.
huh?
I thought you had a girlfriend, Josh.
We broke up about a month ago.
She had to go back home
Oh,
to
damn.
Missouri.
Is
Yeah.
what it is. Well, truth is, she wanted to travel. And that's like,
Oh,
I mean,
she wanted to live her life.
well, yeah. And like I can't, that's how like all things are these days, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm not
I agree.
resentful or anything like that. I get it, but she got to figure out her own path. And
They don't have any urgency.
Yeah, I agree.
they ain't thinking
Is there
about
anyone else
that
trying to call
womb.
in? Is there anyone else trying to call in? Because I don't want to be hogging up the space. If
Nah, you're
No,
good, dude.
you're good.
I do want to address this. Double Edge, first time in the chat, I believe, said hello, first of all. But he said, race mixing is a sin, yes, like being gay. Okay, let me put it like this. Being gay is a sin per se, meaning that it is a sin regardless of the situation. Race mixing is a sin per quote. So they are not like each other. Race mixing being a sin per quote, meaning it depends on the situation, right? So if I'm going to Japan, I'm gonna dedicate my life to being a missionary in Japan. I'm single. I spend 10, 15 years there. Race mixing with a Japanese girl where my children are going to grow up in Japan and then they're going to marry some Japanese. That isn't necessarily a sin. I wouldn't classify that as a sin in the same context of race mixing is a sin in the same way that killing is a sin. Killing isn't sin per se, it's a sin per quote, meaning that the situation matters, right? If I kill in self-defense, then it's not murder and therefore not a sin. Does that make sense, Josh?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and that's the thing.
Whether
is
you
it's
agree
like,
with me or not, I mean, I feel like it logically follows.
I feel like
My great uncle meets race with the Japanese in Tokyo.
I feel like I'm not even so sure that I would go so far as to call it a sin. But I do think like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
I think it's not
Yeah, you can call
healthy.
in. I'll post.
In most
I
cases.
clicked on the wrong one.
Like if you,
Let me ask a different.
if you get
different
stranded
question
on an
before you
island
boot
with
me.
a white girl and there's no chance of being rescued, have at it, man.
Right.
Malarkey, hey, dude, I
Zeb,
appreciate you calling in, brother.
can
Yeah,
I just
enjoy the
ask one more
conversation. I'm
question?
glad we haven't run you off with our true beliefs.
Zeb, can I ask just one last question on
Go for
something
it. Yeah,
different? I'm feeling like if Trump decides to attack and get us into a war, I'm gonna regret my vote. Are you gonna regret your vote if that happens?
No, because I believe that it is a duty. If you have the ability to vote, you have a duty to vote. Now, I would restrict that vote, but I guess the question is, especially in a two-party system, if you don't vote for Trump, it is essentially a vote for Kamala. And this is the argument that was being. I know Nick over here is shaking his head, but this is the argument against Nick Fuentes when he was advocating not voting for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And an argument against
guess
Leather
it's-
Apron Club.
Did he make the same argument?
He made a whole video about it.
But yeah, I mean, I think you have a duty to engage in civil policy, and in this case, it would be an election. And so, it might not be a vote for Kamala, but it is. You could call it a half a vote, and so eventually that adds up. Though I despise democracy in general. Maybe that answers your question. No, I don't regret it. Very few things do I regret, and the ones that I do is something that I didn't do rather than something that I did do, if that makes sense also.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, well, thank y'all for having me up for so long, man. I appreciate it. I'll definitely be calling in again on a different topic.
All good, brother. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Double edge. You should call in. I'm not sure
Yeah,
he
go
was
ahead and
talking
call in,
about
Double
calling
Edge.
in. Now he's not going to call in. You should call in.
We'll figure it out.
Josh, I or L, you should call in too.
The show's 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, we typically go to 5 o'clock. It's kind of a chill stream. If it goes a little long today, that's fine too. I said we're going to keep Zoom calls a little short, but is what it is, man. It happens. Is Amber in the chat? She's going to get banned. A person's political because yeah, that's the same copy and paste from the other day. Bot.
People who have never voted. I didn't even. Is this a different? I never saw the original Amber.
I think it was somebody else, but it's a copy and paste from this. It's the same comment.
I don't
You would
remember
never
seeing
voted
that.
for someone that was found guilty of felonies liable for
Oh, okay.
You remember that one?
No, I do now. Yeah, I don't remember the check marks, but yeah.
A great uncle. I read that one. Modern women are like. Hold on, I gotta get this. Why is the camera?
I'm starting to feel like Sam Nono is. Hey there.
Whoa, Josh, you're huge.
Is not liberal. He's more aligned with us than I initially thought. What are you doing?
How do I get rid of this? Is that on y'all's screen? Double click to pick a camera source.
Let me check the stream. Doo-ba-doo.
Oh, I know how to get rid of it. I'm sorry. I'm dumb, chat.
Maybe you should
No, that wasn't it.
double click.
This one. All right. We're good. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, Double Edge. Call in if you need to. Just new. It's all good, brother.
Welcome.
I mean, I might look angry, but I'm not always angry.
He says, what do you think
Or
about
Josh,
my
whoever.
analogy, Josh? Which analogy is that? Would you scroll up? The show.
Which one?
So it was from
Josh?
Sam Nono. No. It was from Sam Nono. Modern women are like a degenerate gamblers. They want to keep risking chips at the casino until they run out of money when they're there. Yeah,
Right.
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when they have no urgency.
I meant to. I've been saving a bunch of stuff that I see on TikTok that I think would be good content for the show. I'll go back through it all, and then we can do like a just react stream.
Yeah.
One of them.
We need to start doing react streaming, clipping stuff.
One of them was this OnlyFans who, and she basically was getting on, and she was like, "Okay, I'm in my late 20s, and I can't believe that I wasted all my good boob years on like these dude, you know." And there was basically talking about, I was like, I'm in my late 20s, my body is just not as good as it used to be, and I'm not even married yet. They all go through this. They all are overwhelmed by the thrill of living until for them it wears off. Because, I mean, the truth is, women's value comes from two things. The number one being primarily their bodies, and then their ability to raise children, which if they have no interest in raising children, then it is only their bodies. And their bodies start to wear out much, you know, like they're like nobody, there is no 25-year-old that is as attractive as they were when they were 21 or 20 or 17. But yeah.
Double H said, "Oh, I got a call on the computer. I can hardly type." It should do all the work for you. So, I guess just click on it.
Well, Malarkey said he called on his phone.
Yeah, you should be able to do it. It should just do all. If you click on the link, it should just do all the work for you almost.
What does Lord of the Rings say under there?
Are you guys going to have a show next Thursday? Requested off work for my birthday. So, happy early birthday.
Yeah, we usually go live on Thursdays.
Is that Thursday?
Yeah.
We can just start doing live Zooms on Thursdays.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me. Just remind me. We could definitely do it. Josh said, "Put a number up. I'll call you." There should be a link in chat.
Yeah.
I can repost it.
The truth is, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret, every person named Josh were actually a hive mind, so he's just going to say exactly the same stuff I say.
There was a video a while back where somebody invited like some retarded amount of Joshes to a Josh party. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I did see that.
It was like a couple hundred Joshes at a party, and it's like everybody was Josh. It was like,
I mean, I wasn't there physically, but my mind was like the hive mind, you know? They usually have the meetups in like the Middle East, so I miss them.
Imperfect Citizen, Trump wanted to mediate in Ukraine, but scoffs at Putin's offer to mediate in Iran.
Trump is a retard.
I haven't seen that. Did he? I
don't know if
Putin
that's...
has complete... Dude, it's complete jurisdiction for him to be able to mediate for Iran. Completely. Why shouldn't it be? They're neighbors. They're within the window of nuclear missiles, and they're all a part of a BRICS system. It's like if our ally is Israel, and we can mediate on behalf of Israel, then Russia should 100% be able to mediate for Iran.
Well, and the thing is honestly, it's like they this is also, that would be a good faith payment for further negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Trump doesn't know what he's doing. That's evident now.
Double A said, "Am I a Marine?" Yes. I got me a couple years in there. It was some ups and downs, a little roller coaster. Miss it sometimes, and then I think about what actually happened, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Sam says, "Don't be scared, kid with no camera. You can be as racist as you want to." I think Malarkey understands that. I think a lot of people are coming to that conclusion that it doesn't matter anymore. These people can throw out all the names they want to, but inevitably it carries no more weight because they just keep using new ones. Jew mentality is rubbing off on Trump. Oh, you could call it Kushner. You could call it. I mean, even my praise to Stephen Miller, he's still a Zionist Jew. So, nice dude. I don't know how to feel about Double Edge. I mean, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you. We all over the place.
He's married, Double Edge.
If you don't zoom in today, we can do it a different time. I do want to set up just a call line also. That's a little bit more difficult because Zoom's just built in and it's easier to deal with. Just don't be gay. I'm not the one saying. I'm not the one. Oh. But what else we got?
Josh, are you calling in or not?
Yeah, Josh can call in if he wants to. Double Edge can call in if he wants to. Sam, you can call in if you want to, dude. My boy Kevin going to call in soon. All right, let's go, Kevin.
We're getting a lot of threats.
Is this the same Kevin from Stream? We had a Kevin from Stream.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
That sounds gay. I'm just kidding.
Your boy.
I mean, what else do we have to talk? Dude, the only thing to talk about right now is Iran. Maybe a little Palantir. What else? What else are we trying to cover up, Josh? Bongino and Cash and Bondi not releasing the Epstein files. What a joke! What a joke Cash Patel is. Imagine being Bongino having a fantastic, a super successful radio show podcast. You go to the FBI and you can't get anything done. You rail for years. About Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein list and the Epstein files. And Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. And you get this appointment to the FBI and you're like, well, yeah, he did. I saw it. He killed himself. He did. He said, they're just bad liars, one. Two, what has he done since giving up his position on the radio?
Nothing, dude. Like he gave one
interview where he lied for 2 hours.
Yeah,
The same thing with Ted Cruz yesterday. They lied. It's actually impressive, Josh. It's actually impressive to be able to lie for 2 hours straight.
Who was it? Who was it? I saw something the other day. Was it us who said this? Where basically we need we need to reestablish faith in the system by arresting people.
I mean, I agree with it, but I don't
think it was us. But okay, but it was basically like that's the problem. Is like Ted Cruz clearly lying, Dan Bongino, Cash Patel clearly lying, Pam Bondi not lied. Was it Pam Bondi who released Cash Patel? Yeah. Said she was going to release the Epstein files, released fake nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, we called it when they had the photo op. We said, you're not getting the Epstein files. You're just not. You're not getting the Epstein files. You're not getting the 9/11 files. You're not getting the JFK files. You're not getting anything. Nothing. You're not getting any of it.
Josh says when he clicks the link, it sends him to an ad block browser. Do you have ad blocker on? Would that affect a Zoom link?
That would be on your end. You would have to allow. I guess you would have to allow.
You'd have to give.
Oh, you have ad blocker on YouTube, and I send the link through YouTube. So when you click the link on YouTube, it thinks it's an ad, and so it blocks it.
So he can probably copy it and paste it into a new tab.
Into a separate browser.
Yes. If you do that might work. Try that. Got me a phone number, bros. I'll call.
I need to get a spoof phone number and get that set up. I can't drop my phone number again. I've done that too many times. Too many people's in chat. Too many people listening.
We won't get 9/11 in our lifetime.
The files? No.
Oh, the file. I thought he was saying like another 9/11.
Yeah, October 7th. That was another 9/11, dude. It was a 9/11 against Israel. October 7th was. This is why we get to wipe the map with Gaza, because they killed like 6 people, supposedly.
Do you remember that right after October 7th, they were saying this is worse than 9/11 because a greater percentage of our population was killed?
Yes. Yeah, well, I remember.
If this
It wasn't
if
like
this
a year
room,
and a half ago.
if this room is considered a nation and then you get killed, well, 50% of the population was destroyed. Therefore, it's worse.
It's worse, dude. It's worse. I wanted to do a video. I wanted to do a live stream breaking down the Cash Patel stuff, like and Bongino stuff of their positions prior to taking appointment and then we've got nothing from them. I was kind of behind the curve on that one, but he said YouTube I'm losing not with Hadblock. I'm not sure. Settings on my end?
Let me just go ahead and give it a shot. Do.
Not sure. Let me reset link.
There we
Create new
go.
link.
Safari.
All right, let's try this one. This is a new link. I mean,
Link not recognized. The link you used is either expired or invalid. Please ask the host to send you an updated link.
try this one. I just reset everything. Maybe it starts.
Oh, maybe it because it was used for malarkey.
Oh, and then we killed the window, and so okay, I see. Sorry, it's on my end, Josh. I apologize.
Well, I hope I didn't screw it up because I just clicked on the link.
All right, let me try again. Hold on. Time out. Reset link. Let's try this. Create new link. Yes. I would think it would still work. Maybe.
It probably would.
I guess
but
unless
first come,
you
first
were-
serve. New link in chat right now.
All right, try that one. The one I just posted. True, my older brother name is Josh, and he is extremely autistic.
I know, dude. That's like a when we're born, they have like an autism scanner. It's a certain level where like you're not like a full blown like, duh, but you like airplanes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just stamp you with Josh.
We need to tell RFK about this one.
I've
RFK
heard
is
of the
actually,
Josh conspiracy. Everyone named Josh needs to be terminated.
I mean, RFK is actually making slow progress. General Mills came out yesterday or the day before, said that they're now removing all of the food dyes in their cereals. Like, I mean, that's something, dude. I don't know what it is. Like when I was younger, I could drink all those colored drinks. Like now, if I go get like a red Powerade, my head hurts after like 2 sips, and I swear it's the food dye because it does it with other things that have food dye in them. I get a massive headache from like Red 40.
Well, I think it could just be because like you probably go longer. I mean, age maybe, but you probably just go longer periods of time without it. It is bad for you.
And I lose the immunity.
Yes. Yes.
Probably.
Because there was a period of time where I gave up soda of all kinds for like 6 months. And then I just kind of got a craving for it. And I was like, oh, like how bad could it? And I went back and I got like a massive, like it felt like I was drinking acid.
Oh, you lose the numbness to the carbonation.
Right.
Ugh. Sorry, chat. Sorry you had to listen to that.
I'm just going to start
I'll tell you a little story.
feeding you red Starbursts.
So when I was
till you
So I was
get
in middle
cancer.
school, 6th grade, I believe. My dad basically convinced me. It was something to the effect of, and maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. A soda has enough sugar that it takes like a day's worth of running to run all the calories in it off from the sugar. Something to that effect. And I was like, okay, I'm just not going to drink soda anymore. And so I drank water and tea every once in a while. And so that's what I did from like 6th grade up until probably through high school. I didn't have a single soda. And I got in the Marine Corps and I was pounding monsters, dog. Because when you're in the Marine Corps, dude, you pull some late hours and it gets rough really quick. But even then, like I'll sip on a Coke now, like a fresh Coke burnt, like it hurts. Like I know it's got carbonation in it, but it hurts. What's the topic when I call in the title? Whatever you want to talk
we're
about,
doing
brother.
a freewheeling stream.
We talked about why Democrats aren't American. We talked about malarkey called in. We talked about really race mixing, but just relationships, whatever you want to talk about. I have an answer. It might not be the right one, but I have an answer for you. But it is the right one.
I have the right one. I'll just proofread. Why is everyone threatening to call in? Just call in.
I mean, you ain't got to put your face on there. I didn't put Malarkey's face
there's
on there.
There's a mic. Like I just tried it, and it said use microphone and use camera. Just do the use microphone.
You know what I want to do? I want to get.
In the meantime, we could do cards
and put like the wavelength thing.
Yeah,
just like link that to the audio.
Yeah,
and just like have that on screen.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be
a cool effect.
Better than black screening over here.
Do you want to give the cards a shot while we wait? See if
we could do that. All right, while we waiting on anybody, I want to talk about Negroes. Dude, I'll talk about anything. Just
I'll tell you what.
I just want to stay on YouTube. Just give me 2 more months on YouTube.
We'll get Malarkey to call back in. Y'all can talk to each other, and we'll just leave.
We'll facilitate the conversation. No, we'll talk about whatever. I'm not opposed to it at all.
Yeah, soda is the energy drain. Glad I discovered.
Caffeine.
Oh. Is that what it says?
Cafeterine. That's a typo. So here's what we're going to do. This is what we did. Me and Josh did when we didn't have a ton of viewers.
Yeah, this is a throwback.
There's a little throwback. I don't know if you know Michael Knowles. I think most people do. I followed Michael Knowles for a long time. He was my bridge, if you will, into the wherever we are now. One of you have it added as my end to do with permissions. Yeah, there's you got an ad block on there somewhere somehow. You could probably get around it if you just go to like Zoom.com and input the live code on the back end. But it's not a big deal. If you want to call in, go for it. If not, you can use your phone. You can use your computer. Like I said, once you click on it, it should do everything for you. Let's do. I guess they have one on relationships that I haven't gotten yet. One's conspiracies and one's politics, philosophy, and religion. Which one? Or we got the original, Josh. Pick one.
Do conspiracy.
They're so shiny, you can't even see.
One of you have at it. It's my end
on permissions.
To do with permissions.
Conspiracy. All right, here we go. We're going to pick a random card. There's supposed to be a game played where I guess if Josh agrees with it or disagrees with it, and Josh guesses if I agree with it or disagree with it. This is a conspiracy expansion pack. I think it's like loosely conspiratorial. I don't think everything in here is exactly like mainstream conspiracy.
Sure.
But we're gonna go pick one, Josh. We'll do a couple of these and if anybody wants to call in, we'll continue the conversation. If not, we'll see how it goes. All right, where we at? What you got?
The accepted account of Hitler's death is not accurate.
I'm assuming
that he died suicide, okay. Did not escape to Argentina.
I don't even think that's a question anymore, is it?
You know, there was a time where I had thought that was like a Jewish conspiracy, but there are a lot of Ubermensch in the jungles of Argentina. So,
well, not only that, the Argentinian government released some papers the other day. I say the other day, maybe 2 or 3 months ago.
It was a little while ago.
That kind of lent to the idea that Hitler lived in Germany for like another 40 years.
That must have been awkward.
So, I mean, I guess...
He had a makeover.
So you think is yes or no?
No,
they
just
protected him.
I think that he survived.
Well, it's like it would be just like an agreement. I mean, we took over 12 or 1,600 German scientists. It's like, okay, give us your scientists. We'll leave Hitler alone.
And that's the thing is like they probably bargained for Hitler's life too. They were like, "We will build you rockets, but do not kill sweet Adolf."
Do not kill the Führer. Okay. Any, many, money. Humans have never been to outer space.
I think outer space. Well, okay. What do you mean by outer space?
Not
Like deep
Not
space?
Blue Origin, low Earth orbit.
You don't think they've been to the moon?
I guess that's kind of the question. Humans have never been to space.
Here's the thing. I don't care.
I don't care either, dude.
So I've actually never looked
I
into
care
it.
in the sense that downplaying going to the moon
Yeah.
is not good.
Yes. I think that,
Regardless of if we did or not.
when a Muslim immigrant says y'all never went to the moon, it's like, whoa. When my dad says it, it's like, oh, maybe. You know, it's case by case. He didn't die in the bunker. He died a few years later from syphilis. All right. No, I'm kidding. That sucks.
Did he? I don't think he did. I think. Well, I don't know.
The truth
I
is,
have to reread the Argentinian.
we all know
papers.
Hitler survived because he lives on through us.
He is rising from the ashes, as he himself said he would.
His blood seeped into the ground and became every Josh that exists. The Unabomber did what he did because the CIA MK Ultra'd him at Harvard.
That's a lot there.
I don't believe that the CIA mind controlled him into doing what he did, but I definitely think what he went through
I don't know enough about the Unabomber to answer the question.
is pretty interesting.
Well, learn me real quick.
So
I know what I know what he.
Ted Kaczynski was an antisocial, high IQ guy.
I've seen some of his
and
post jail interview or post prison interviews.
He was one of these like MK. Like when you think of MK Ultra, you think of like people drilling electrodes into your head and like you got the blah, 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 like
some Winter Soldier type,
some Winter Soldier type stuff. But they basically put him through psychological torment, like belittling him, and just to see if I can't even remember what the purpose of it was.
like boot camp.
Yes, but like it was almost like the end result was he had extremely low self-esteem. Is the narrative? I don't know. I don't know the full MK Ultra story as it relates to him, but like it's not like that's not a conspiracy theory. Like that's confirmed, and they basically said it was like the diet version of MK Ultra. Like a social experiment, like
Josh, he was based. I mean,
he was based. He was based.
His post interview or his post prison interviews are very. What's the word? I mean, they're based. Yeah, I mean, he's supposedly he accepted Christ too, before he died.
Did he? Or are you thinking of Jeffrey Dahmer?
Am I thinking of Dahmer?
Dahmer was.
I
the
think
one.
Krasinski did too.
He
maybe,
may have.
maybe
I'm gonna look it up.
Maybe I'm wrong on that.
You read the next. Oh, you got one? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
I'll get one. Yeah, I need to look into. I took a sociology class in college, and that's all we did was like go through different serial killers. It was really odd. I was more fascinated with the DC sniper than anybody, for obvious reasons.
So it says
I
no.
guess.
Ted Kaczynski did not convert to Christianity.
Did he? Okay, maybe it is Dahmer I'm thinking about. But I mean that Dahmer too. I mean, extremely high IQ individual that kind of. I don't know, when you talk to him, he seems like he has his head on straight. He said they both did. I think I do remember something about Krasinski.
Maybe I mean Google AI. Who knows? Is it a doozy or some weird stuff?
Phthalates cause sterility. Dude, I don't even know what those words are. That's a struggle, chat. What?
I don't know.
Let me hold it.
I don't know what the sterility means. Like you can't have kids.
I wonder if it'll zoom in.
You're. It almost looks like fatalities.
I'm about to Google it. I gotta know what that word means now.
He just goes, Dave Berkowitz. I don't know what he's talking about.
Let's see. I gotta Google that word. Fatalities.
Fatalitas.
We learned it today, boys. Chemicals. Mag says chemicals in plastic cause sterility.
Like microplastics, I guess. Maybe.
Oh, pH is silent. AI tells me they don't directly cause sterility, but that's not the question.
Directly.
It's always a linguistic issue, dude. They're always trying to skirt around the thing. It's like, does it or doesn't it?
Okay.
It
Thank you,
produced
Lord of the Rings.
phthalates. Nice.
It's pronounced.
Okay. Oh, pronounced phthalates. Well, dude, why? This is English. We pronounce things.
Yeah.
PH makes the what sound, Josh? Let's go back to second grade. At least I learned something today. Phthalates.
Porn. Jim says porn causes sterility. Absolutely.
I guess to answer the question, I would say that you say yes.
Oh, does it
cause sterility? Do microplastics cause sterility?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think, from my understanding, here's what it does:
or birth defects.
Microplastics increase estrogen production, which decreases sterility. So that's their way around saying it doesn't cause sterility directly. Imperfect citizen. What? Alien Warnos.
Alien. I don't know who that is either.
Are we gonna do the Googles again? Let me pull it up on.
I think we'll just
on stream.
I'll look it up. Alien Warnos. Wow. Serial killer between 1989 and 1990 while engaging in street prostitution. They say that the final form of a whore is, they say, overly religious. I would just say
Nala.
Conversion. Here's the thing, though.
So who is it?
She was a serial killer who was she was a prostitute.
Oh, Aileen.
Yeah.
Oh, I pronounce alien. I don't know what I'm talking about. A prostitute. Did she kill dudes?
She died on my birthday. That's cool.
Did she kill dudes that hired her for prostitution?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that before. I was like, that would be easy. Like, if you just wanted to go on a rampage of killings, just go. Well, I thought about it the other way. Just go to hire prostitutes and just kill them, and then just move on down the road and do it again.
Thai latte.
All right, next one.
Yeah. I feel like everyone has thought, like, if I were a serial killer, this is how I would do it.
Pick one, Josh.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of slow afternoon, but we'll get there, boys. What you got?
Michelle Obama is a man. I'm gonna say you think yes.
You're gonna say I think yes?
Yeah.
I do think there is some credence to the idea that Michelle Obama is a man.
Where'd you go, Jim?
Jim, call back.
Call back, Jimbo. I think
I'll have to reset it, actually.
I think that a lot of black women just look like men, and that a lot of the bulge stuff is like exaggerated or whatever. Try again, Jimbo.
Hey, it's not, I wouldn't even say it's the bulge. I think it's everything else that comes with it.
Well, that's the thing, is everything else, all the like, they're like, look at their face.
Yeah.
I think black women just look like men.
Well, they are more
times.
masculine. They produce more testosterone than any other women do.
And that's the thing, is it's like sometimes, like, the tranny thing has ruined, because like I see some girls and I'm like, I know they're not trannies, but I'm not as sure as I should be.
Black women
And
have
with
a bulge. No, we're talking about Michelle Obama specifically. Yeah, Jim, call back in. Mom's calling. You want me to put her on stream?
Jim, where'd you go? We were come back.
Come back. I got one here, Josh. Pangea was real. You probably believe it. You believe in evolution. You're retarded. You believe evolution.
I believe in Pangea.
You believe in Pangea? We're gonna let's speed run these things. We're gonna knock out about 15 of them real quick.
All right.
Do I believe Pangea was real? Yes. Bohemian Grove, yeah. Bohemian Grove participates in child sacrifices, obviously.
Yes.
Birds are drones operated by the U.S. government to spy on citizens.
No, but I'm sure something akin to that exists.
Yeah, I think so. I think some of the pigeons may possibly be spy birds. I wouldn't discount it, dude. Why wouldn't they? I would.
I would even say that like birds you see on perches in big cities, some of them might be fake, and they literally have one that like they'll put them there for like a few hours and then they go pick them up or something. You know,
well,
that might be too much.
Why would I mean? I think they have the ability to surveil that they don't need the birds anymore.
That too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vampire stories derive from Illuminati blood sacrifices.
I wouldn't say Illuminati.
I was going to say the same thing, dude.
Of course, Michael Knowles.
Kevin wants an updated link. All right. The last one I sent should be good, but I'll resend it. Yeah, Josh believes in evolution. He's a retard.
We'll have the debate. That'll be our first debate. We have a corner thing over there we're doing.
Josh said, any opinion Josh has from now on discounted. Evolution believer.
I believe that evolution and scripture are not incompatible.
Josh said all the proof needed is the daughters aren't biologically his. Yeah, I mean,
is that been proven though?
Yeah, it's basically proven.
How?
They have a family couple that the daughters look exactly like. I mean, it's not proven, but it's proven.
Get him before he leaves.
Yeah, don't leave us this time again, old Jimmy. And there's no proof of Michelle Obama ever being pregnant. Jim, you want to be on camera? I'm assuming not.
Hello?
He's muted. Is that on your end or our end? I think it's on his end.
Did you?
Hello.
Oh, there he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up, brother?
Hey, what do y'all want to talk about?
You tell us, man. You call in.
I got stuck in traffic, so I had a second to complain about everything with y'all.
You know how we fix traffic? Deportation.
Deportations.
Hey,
I'm not kidding you, dude. There's a QT that just opened up not far from where I live. I'm sure, Jim, you know the one. I see people at this QT that I'm like, did they just switch out his loincloth for like work boots? Like this dude looks like he should be rolling little kids' heads down Aztec pyramids. It's crazy.
So I travel a good bit, and y'all, it's worse everywhere else. I mean, it's really bad as far as
I grew up in
the
Charlotte.
migration goes.
When I go and visit, I feel like I went to a store I grew up going to. I felt like I was in a bazaar. I was like, what is going on here?
Well, and you know, realistically, you go to places like Batesburg, right up the road outside Columbia, and I don't mean this to be rude at all, but black people are getting replaced. And so if you know, we want to talk about replacement theory, they're just as much of a part of this as we are. So, you know, hey, go to the peninsula in Charleston, and white yuppies from up north are certainly replacing the blacks that were historically on the peninsula. So, you know, now granted, we can have a conversation about gentrification, and that's probably what it is, but no, I mean, they are certainly replacing all heritage Americans. And hey, look, I probably have a little bit of a different opinion, but I would certainly um, include uh, blacks that descend from slaves in the equation as Americans.
Yeah,
They
that's
certainly
yeah.
have. I mean,
Loosely.
and they certainly have. Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, the black community certainly got its issues. I think there was probably a point in time, a period um, that we, and my words can easily get misconstrued here, but that we not owed them something, so to speak, but that
We have an
we
obligation.
had a, yeah, perfect. We had an obligation, a duty to them. I think that has since passed. Um, and I think we more than fulfilled that obligation. Um, but yeah, I mean, what's going on with immigration is we got to get them all out. And, I was listening to Steve Bannon earlier this morning. Apparently, had a breakfast meeting with some people yesterday. Um, he says that the criticism that Trump was getting about not going after the the illegals in the different industries, that he's walking that back now.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah, I think to your point of the what do they call them, FBAs, Black
Yeah,
Americans.
the foundational Black Americans.
Yeah, foundational Black Americans. I think we talked about that earlier on with Malarkey in this stream, and I think you are correct in that they are American in a sense, but they aren't Americans, if that makes sense. And so we do owe. I'm not saying we as like white people owe an obligation or have an obligation to them, but I do think the country as a whole has an obligation to Black Americans.
I think the descendants of slaves have basically, through like breeding amongst themselves and breeding amongst white people here, have become their own like
Nation.
Yes. And to send them back to Africa, it's not like it's not like sending Somalians who just immigrated here back to Somalia. It would be a death sentence for them.
Yeah, real Liberia has never been tried though.
Yeah. So I think we do have an
Well,
obligation, but you had talked before about like a tiered society.
Yes.
And I think that would actually be a good solution.
well,
They're not going to like it, but it's the best deal they're going to get.
so I've got a good friend that I went to college with. I'm not going to out him,
Sure.
but he's much more of an intellectual than I am, and you would probably recognize the name and his voice. But he has this question: are Southern whites and Southern blacks, have they almost created their own ethnicity and distinct amongst themselves? Kind of as an amalgamation of the two. I don't know if I quite see it that way. But I mean, but if you fundamentally look at the symbiotic relationship between Southern blacks and Southern whites, particularly aristocratic whites and blacks, there's that, obviously there's that lower tier of whites, probably, probably the ones that came from the Highlands of Scotland, that type, that that didn't fit in either category really. But I mean, we built monuments in the South of Confederate soldiers handing their children not off to their mother, but handing them off to their slave.
Yeah.
I mean, there was.
So I mean, I
there
would
was a
agree with your friend from high school. I think there is. I wouldn't say the Southern blacks and the Southern whites are a singular nation. I would say I would say American blacks are a nation, Southern whites are a nation, and Northern whites are a nation. I think there's a clear divide. I mean, you could break down a sub cultures across that. When you look at something like Louisiana, where you have the French, and I can barely understand what they're saying, and then kind of maybe up into the difference between New Jersey and Boston and the Yankees. Yet I would still classify them as somewhat of a similar nation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look
like,
what.
Oh, I was just gonna say
Look,
that, like, I think there is, like, again, it would be different, but like I'm thinking of my ex. She was from northern Minnesota, and she grew up on a farm. And what she was telling me about her family and her experiences up there, that like the southern culture, now obviously like it's a little bit different, but being like a white farmer in northern Minnesota, you would have more in common with a southerner down here than you would with a Yankee, so to speak, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely
well, what's the old
some
saying about
crossover.
what's the old saying about Pennsylvania between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia is Alabama, but um, more in particular with what you're talking about, these different nations building. I mean, think about it. What is today? Juneteenth, and it's treated as
Forgot
a
about that.
black.
It is
Right. Yeah.
Juneteenth
Think
Day.
about it. It's treated as Black Independence Day, and they call it. It's called such. Um, and so we're losing our homogeneity in a sense, and we are in a sense losing our nation um, with these different holidays that are targeted towards different identities
Correct.
instead of a shared identity.
Because this is a war of identity, and inevitably it's going to be a war on race. Everything is a proxy war on race. This is an election. This is the GoFundMe's. We've kind of gone through this before, where everything is a proxy war for a race war. And when you run out of proxy wars, that's when you actually get the race war. And so I don't know how far we are. I don't know how many more proxy wars we can run through. Obviously, the elections don't matter anymore. They're rigged. So everybody ran to funding GoFundMe's or Give, Send, Goes for this race war, right? I mean, we had literally millions of dollars raised just to prove a point. What's the meme of the Joker? It's not about the money. It's about sending a message. That's what we have now. And so I think inevitably that's what it's going to boil down to.
Yeah, and you had you had this mass migration out of the South of blacks, and Thomas Sowell talked about the problems that blacks ran into, particularly going to Chicago, and these other places. And I always find it funny that we got a mass migration of blacks out of the South, and what started popping up in the 40s was housing
Suburbs.
authorities, the projects, right? And so that was because the self-righteous Yankee, who was much more racist than any Southerner could ever have been. Let's just look at how many times Sherman used hard R, and then let's look at how Southern heroes talked about blacks, and it's just a totally different, theme, I guess. Look at uh, one of the things I would implore you to really take a look at, and it'll open and this is one of the things that really opened my eyes, was go read Nathan Bedford Forrest. He spoke to it's called the Pole Bearers Association. They say it's like a precursor to the NAACP, but I don't know if it was. But anyways, I'm trying to think, was it in Nashville? Or it was somewhere in Tennessee. Obviously, Forrest is from
I know
from
what you're
there.
talking about.
So he gave that speech, and they give they talk they give this history of it, and they talk about how Forrest kissed the black lady giving him a rose on the cheek, and how that was completely unheard of. And you look at the things that he said to them. I just, the narrative that we're told, and I appreciate the great Yankee doctor that comes on the not to be mentioned radio program.
Dr. Bolt. I've had him on my show.
But I don't. And look, he's got to walk a fine line. He doesn't say he has to walk a fine line. He doesn't say that specifically, but you can get that from what he says, that he understands,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, being
You don't bite the
being
hand
from
that
up
feeds you.
north, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I need to get some thoughts.
Well, I was going to
Go ahead.
say, I mean, you mentioned Nathan Bedford Forrest. We used to have him hung up right behind Josh's head, but I've been renting out the studio and I have to take it down every time. Out of respect, I mean, I understand the position that they're in because it's got a massive Confederate flag on the bottom of it, but it's hanging right over there, and so I guess to people in the chat, I mean, Nathan Bedford Forrest, he kind of gave you the idea, or gave you the story about him going and speaking to the quasi NAACP, but Nathan Bedford Forrest also founded the KKK, or at least it's common knowledge that he founded the KKK. It's not completely confirmed, but here's I'll follow up with that real quick, and maybe you can give your thoughts on this. I know there's been a rise of this Third Reich glorification of Hitler recently, and I think the commandeering of that from people like Kanye is going to lead people to find something else to not associate themselves with Kanye, because he's kind of commandeered it, if you will, like I said. And so what they're going to inevitably end up doing is running back to the founding of the KKK.
No.
So
you say no.
All right.
You would have said no to the Hitler thing 3-4 years ago too.
No.
Yes.
No.
Well, let's back up. Let's back up on the whole Klan thing. So after the war, the South was really in turmoil, and was in a state of lawlessness. And the Klan was acting as a police force, and then it got co-opted by Yankees. Okay, so what the Klan was originally, and then what the Klan became in the 20s, are two totally different things. Much more. I mean, there's much more Yankee involvement in the Klan in the 20th century, and is a very different thing than what it was. And I would disagree about this idea that Forrest started it. I think that there's some difference of opinions there, but
it's not confirmed, but it's commonly said, and I don't even know if it even matters. I mean, the founding
that's
of
a
the
good
Klan
point.
is
It
not
probably doesn't matter.
The common understanding of what the Klan is, and that's what I was going to get to. Is it's the same concept of World War II is kind of coming to light, where maybe Germany wasn't as bad as people say. Maybe applying crazy evil to an individual and just dismissing everything they have to say doesn't lend well to revisionism, if you will. And so I think that same application is going to happen to the Klan, because it's been demonized as just pure evil. The revisionists are going to come back and are going to revitalize the origination of what the Klan was.
Here's where I differ from you too, and
I just want to wear a hood around. God, no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
This is something I've noticed a lot since moving down here to South Carolina from North Carolina, and it is that and I get it. It's part of the culture. It's part of the heritage.
You sound like you moved like 1,500 miles.
It may as well be. I mean, I know it's only 2 hours north of here, but Charlotte is, I mean, let's be honest, like how much in common does Charlotte have with the rest of North Carolina even? But the point being is this.
Gays.
I feel like a lot of you South Carolinians, I include you, Zeb, and I include Ken of Wake Up Carolina, you guys have this obsession, and I don't know if obsession is the right word, but you're more fascinated with the Civil War than most other people are. And I'm not even going to speculate as to why, but that is what it is. And my point being is like the difference between the founding of the KKK and Adolf Hitler. I get why you think that, but the thing I disagree that Kanye West is going to commandeer this obsession with Hitler. The reason that people are opening up to Adolf Hitler, these Hitler edits, these cool Hitler edits, is because Hitler has been the devil in the post-war discourse for so long, and is the gold standard of evil for everybody. all over the world. And like everyone on the planet knows who Hitler is. You think that the KKK will take his place, but it's only because the Civil War is so prevalent in your minds. The rest of America really doesn't care.
I can see that in a sense.
And here's the thing: I'm not saying that. I definitely agree with you that
I think the essence is the
I
same,
don't like
though.
it. I don't like it when Black Americans, minorities come in and they rail on the Confederates, because I do agree with you guys that the Confederates are not given a fair shake, that they are wrongfully demonized.
I wouldn't
But
equate. I wouldn't
do
equate it to
think
the
there
KKK
is-
either, though.
I do think there is a level of like, oh, people like Hitler now they're gonna like my heroes, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
All right. Well, I don't want my heroes associated with Hitler. Now, what I would use, the Third Reich and Hitler as a warning to those that are trying to push culture so far. Not that we want to go to what that was, but look, if when people talk about ebbs and flows and how there's this pendulum swing, the society doesn't act in a pendulum swing. It acts in a rubber band. And so what happens is you stretch that rubber band and you stretch it and it pops back. There's no the pendulum swing is what you wish would happen. The rubber band effect is what actually happens. Now let's go back to the Confederacy thing real quick.
Right.
One of the things that I'd like
I think
to,
that's what's happening.
right. So, but for me, Josh, what really got me was going through my heritage and going through my ancestors and trying to figure out why did these problems arise in family dynamics and everything else. I think you can go back to the war and its awful effects, the aftermath of it, and you would get rise of the word trauma that gets overused, but for me in particular, my great grandmother had a huge role in my early childhood. Died when I was 10, but she played a huge role in my childhood. Well, her grandfather is buried in a mass grave in Virginia for fighting in the war, Battle of Williamsburg. But anyway, so it kind of caught my attention. Like, here's this woman that I still memorialize in my house. I teach my children about her. She was incredibly important to me. And what kind of effect did that have on her? Because she was raised by a father that was basically fatherless because of this war. And so I think I owe it to her. I owe it to her father, and I owe it to the man that's buried in the mass grave, to defend what they did and defend the stances that they took. Now when we talk about Germany, you can obviously talk about the degeneracy that was occurring.
Well,
they
Jim,
never want to talk.
I want to cut you off real quick because I want to hone in on what you just said, which is I do agree with you, and I think like my point is it's not that I don't care about the Civil War, but as someone who did not grow up in my ancestry, like I actually my family moved to North Carolina from Indiana. Like my family's heritage is not as Southern as you guys. And so my point is like I think you should have pride in your grandmother and great grandfather. I forget the connection, but like I definitely think that Southerners should have pride in the Confederacy. And I don't think the Confederates were bad people. And I do think America would be a better place if we basically got this more nuanced view of the Civil War being prominent in education. I absolutely agree with you. What I'm saying, I'm not being critical of that. What I'm saying is I'm more being critical of what Zeb said, where all Americans will come basically to the side of the Confederates, and I don't think that is going to happen. I don't think that.
Maybe I should lay out my position. I don't think you
Sure.
understand it.
All right.
I'm not going to be able to do it right here.
Okay.
I'm not saying necessarily that the Confederates will be the hallmark, will take the place of what is the Third Reich. I'm saying that the essence that created the KKK in its early years, the original founding of the KKK, not what followed, not all of these spin-offs from it, but the original founding of the KKK that drove itself against the grain to establish order in a chaotic environment is what is going to rise up, and it will be cited not as prevalently, obviously, as Hitler is, as we aren't. You know, the parallel from Weimar Germany to the Third Reich isn't as prevalent as the Civil War to the rise of the KKK, but I think there is an essence there that is going to be honed in on from a lot of Americans, especially ones that are trying to get away from this yay takeover of.
I don't think
88.
it's a yay takeover.
Whether
I
you
think-
think about it or not, there is an association that people don't want to have, and if it continues, go.
I think it's just fun and edgy. I don't think there's any
Yeah.
takeover.
Yeah.
You know,
That-
Yeah,
like,
but,
Kanye-
but
I
it,
mean-
it waters it down though is the problem.
I don't think so. I mean, the thing is, the Hitler stuff, and again, like, I'm not even a total like pro Hitler guy, but like the AI translations.
Those are brutal, dude.
The AI translations where you see him and his voice, but speaking in English. That made people go, "Oh, he sounds crazy in German, but he's actually just like a nationalist." And that kind of made people go, "Oh, like they have this more nuanced view of Hitler." And I know, Jim, like you're probably not on the same page as Hitler. Again, I don't think Hitler was necessarily like a righteous leader or anything, but Zeb and I agree that he is demonized for a purpose. And the purpose is you are no longer allowed to be a fascist. You are no longer allowed to be a nationalist in a white country because it will result in the death of 6 million Jews and blacks, insert minority here. That's why Hitler is demonized. And so it like you say, Jim, to say like Heil Hitler, it's edgy because it's bucking the system,
Yeah, and let's just be blunt. I mean, go to Hitler. The edgy thing to say here would be not to get into the question of whether this stuff actually happened. I don't want to go down that road, but I really don't want to go down that road.
You're in
'Cause I
company
don't
here.
necessarily. Well, no, I probably would disagree with you, but if Hitler, let's say the things that he's accused of having done, if he would have never done those things, he would have been remembered as a hero. And so, it's kind of like Pablo Escobar. I mean, Pablo Escobar is this evil guy that pushed drugs, but his community absolutely loved him for the things that he did for them. And there was a lot. I mean, nobody wants to talk about
that.
Well, nobody wants to talk about the pure turmoil that was going on in Germany at the time, the inflation and all those different things that really led to all this. And I think we need to use that as kind of like a siren to the people to the boomer, like, hey, y'all are pushing this stuff like crazy. If y'all don't back off, you're going to get what you claim to hate. Um, and so that would kind of be
Yeah.
what I would use that for.
Yeah, you're right where like the perception forget whether it was 6 million. The modern consensus is that it was. And they're so afraid of Hitler doing that again that they're recreating the conditions that brought about Hitler. That's what you're saying, right?
Right. That's perfectly what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they live in a delusion where
I
they
don't-
worship at the feet of this post-war consensus of Hitler bad, right? That's their foundation. That's their cornerstone. Their cornerstone is hate Hitler.
Yes. Because we're not saying Hitler is good. What we're saying is let's have a nuanced view. And you're not allowed to have even that.
And so prior to World War II and this rise of hate Hitler religiosity is love Christ, love Christianity, love your neighbor, right? And so when you replace the love that comes from that with the new religion of hate, you inevitably get what we have today. It's communism necessarily. And the rise
But
of
there's not a lot of
degeneracy.
communists in the United States, is there, Josh? I don't know.
Is there many communists in the United States? I guess it depends on how you define it.
Yeah, I mean, to
Yeah,
me,
Do
like,
you
I
need,
got it.
do you
I got it.
need many to bring about Weimar?
Well, I got asked that question if I thought that there was a lot of communists in the United States, and from with the
oh, was that a
questionnaire
question you asked on the radio?
Well, when I brought up, being called what I say I got called a
Oh, where he implied you were an anti-Semite. Is that
did
what we're
he
talking?
imply that?
This was a while back. Oh, no. Was that Jason from Marion?
He called somebody anti-Semite.
I don't know, but I know-
No, sorry. It was
What's-
Sam from
all right.
Darlington. He called an anti-Semite. My bad, Jim. My bad. I
Well-
don't mean to confuse people. And
Well, so I had made the point that there was 3 reasons for illegal immigration, and that one of the reasons was for obviously so the Democrats can have more population
Okay.
for the census, right?
Yeah.
As I made that point, this is when I got accused of being think tankish or whatever, which none of this stuff is think tankish. It's well documented, everything else. The second thing I said was obviously for big corporations and cheap labor. And then I said, and the third reason is because fundamentally communists hate white people. And then he tried to merge. I was separating the 3. He's merging the 3. He's merging the 3 just to claim that I'm accusing of business owners who use illegal immigrants of hating white people, and that was not what I was doing. And then and he said, "Well, do you think there's a lot of communists in the country?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, there is." I don't know how you don't think there aren't. I mean,
forgive me because that call was like you got to keep in mind, Jim. Most
you're running
like
through
when
it.
I take calls every day, a lot of it just kind of bleeds together. But I do remember that call, and because he was saying that to me. He was saying that, like, my position about immigration, he goes, well, think tanks don't run the country, and it's like, what does that mean? Like, I'm telling you,
I'm not allowed
like,
to.
my belief. I could, like, it, because he was basically saying, oh, well, what you're saying is theoretical. And I go, okay, but what you're saying is theoretical. And that's what he was accusing you of.
Everything's theoretical, dude.
It's only theoretical when
It's all a
we
simulation.
disagree.
well, I
But
did
yeah, I mean-
get him to admit to using illegal labor at some point. He did finally admit that. I don't know if you caught that.
No, he did. He did.
Yeah.
There's such a struggle, man. You know what he hasn't said in a while? Josh mentioned this the other day. like a year ago, not just him, just across the board, everybody would say the Republican Party is stale, male, and white. Stale, male, and pale.
Stale, male, and pale.
Stale, male, and pale. It's all stale, male, and pale. Stale, male, and pale. And finally, they're coming around. Oh, maybe. These are little steps, but I would take them as wins. I haven't heard it in a long time.
Well,
maybe Jim needs to call in and ask him, is the Republican Party still too stale, pale, and male?
What that's a good call idea, Jim. And the thing is like you could say it's stale, but I definitely don't think the problem is that it's pale and
I wouldn't say
male.
it's stale. We got some excitement going on right now, dude.
Stale old points dressed up in a new wrapper. Neocons 2.0.
Middle.
But Jim, I applaud you for bringing up replacement migration on the air, because that's a bold stance.
What? Here's
He's breaking up.
Connection issues, Jim.
What time
I think
is
we're
it?
losing him.
5:20. Jim, we're gonna do this probably more often.
fundamental
Yeah.
question, though.
All right, there you go.
Okay,
You're
what's
back.
up?
All right, what I bring up, you cut out for a second.
Yeah, you were.
You
cutting up.
said
Go-
you
go
had a
again.
question.
Here. Hey,
All right. Hello?
yellow.
Do you said you had a question?
Hey, you guys there?
Yeah. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? All right, I think we're losing him.
I'm gonna let you go, Jim. We're cutting out pretty bad. I got an Oreo in my mouth. Lemon Oreos, lemon thin Oreos, goated.
Those are
Jim,
good,
yeah,
dude.
call back later, man. We'll definitely do this. I guess we're shooting for Thursday next week. Also, we'll just make Thursdays a Zoom-in show after about an hour. Shoot for 3:30 to 5. It's running on 5:30. I'm gonna send this link out for Kevin here in a second. If he wants to join, I'll give you about 10 minutes, and then we'll go for a few minutes after that if you want. If not, we'll probably close it up here, and then I don't know, maybe Tuesday and Thursday we can do a Zoom call, depending on what the news cycle looks like. But yeah, shout out to Jim from Florence. He's watching on Josh's show, or on Josh's channel. If I were wondering where he was at.
Oh man.
And it's first, I think this is the first comment from Twitter. Is that the first Twitter comment?
Enos?
Enos, kind of like penis without the P.
Just an extra N.
Everyone doesn't hate America. I'm proof of that. Again, it depends on how you define America. I think we established that from the beginning. But yeah, shout out. First comment from Twitter. Let's go.
Jim just texted me and he was like, "What was it?" Because he couldn't hear. He was like, "What was it that I said that he said on the air that I was plotting for? White replacement migration."
Yeah.
And he brought up how he goes, and now you know that it is anti-white racism because when you bring in the Boers from South Africa, they pitch a fit.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. And we talked about this on the show. We talked about they want to bring in millions, literally millions, give them amnesty as long as they're brown. But as soon as you bring in 49 white people, they lose their minds.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious to anyone looking around, and the people that deny it are the ones that are destroying the country. The people that refuse to acknowledge that the game is being played are losing it for everyone that is willing to play the game on their side.
Mm-hmm.
If Kevin's listening, I shot a Zoom link if you want to join. If not, like I said, we'll close up here in about 5 minutes or so. Lord of the Rings said, stale old neocon boomers. But this is just the thing, right? They're old boomers. They're not going to be around much longer. And we talked about this yesterday, is these Zoomers that are virtually Hitler apologists are going to replace them. And so the boomers aren't being replaced with a milder Republican. They aren't being replaced with a milder neocon. They're being replaced with extremists. Some more extreme than me, which is maybe I need to up my game, Josh. Do I need to up my game a little bit? You need to take a nap, dude. You look tired. Wake up. Just wait until I call in. All right. Everybody put a post-it note down. Lord of the Ring next Thursday, going to call in. We'll see what he has to say.
Isn't he like British or something? Because I remember he donated, but it was like rubles. I don't know. What do they got there? What do they got there in England? Doubloons?
Somebody said they weren't. Josh said he wasn't from the U.S.
He said he was Southern. I'm not even from the U.S., but this. Oh, he supports the South. Okay.
I do want to address this too. Where did he say it? The South will rise again. To hell with Abraham Lincoln. I think Lincoln believes he did what he had to do.
So you
I'm not a Lincoln fan at all, but I do understand Lincoln's position. But the problem is they killed Lincoln. Lincoln advocated for emancipation and repatriation. He got the emancipation, and they killed him before the repatriation.
I was talking with Jim, and I definitely want to do a deeper dive on the Civil War. It's just not.
We need to have Jim in
priority
studio.
list.
You don't have to be on camera. I won't put him on camera. We'll just have a stand-in for him, Jim. I don't know how old you are, but I think this'll do. We'll have a stand-in for Jim.
We'll put him behind the mic.
We'll put him back,
and then we'll just have his audio in there.
That's fine.
What was I was gonna say something though. Damn it.
Kevin said you're in a time crunch now. He'll go next
gonna like
when there's
this.
no rush. All right, yeah, that's cool.
My grandparents on my mother's side.
Come on, time out. What? We got Jefferson, we got Kevin, and we got who else was speaking on behalf of Kevin earlier? Hold on. What kind of Discord are y'all in? Was it Sam?
Sam brought in Kevin.
Y'all all in a Discord chat, dude? Let me in on this Discord chat. It sounds like it'd be a fun one.
Who's in it? Tyrone?
I'm in 0 group chats. All my group chat goes on Twitter. I hide nothing.
Tyrone must have told Sam, who told Kevin.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's keep it. Post the links in the Discords, boys.
Tyrone.
But no, I definitely appreciate y'all stopping by. And Kevin, worst case it'll be Thursday. Best case, it'll be Tuesday. We'll do Zoom Tuesdays, Thursdays. I did think about this. Me and Josh need to do a solo show each. And I would go for an hour from like 2:30 to 3:30. He would come in 3:30 to 4:30. And then we could do a Zoom for maybe an hour or so after that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know how that might pan out or not. But we'll keep playing with it. We're not going anywhere unless YouTube kicks us off, which is definitely a possibility. Replacing the pendulum with a rubber band actually makes a lot of sense, and it would explain how I saw this shift back coming. I just thought it would take a few more years.
This shift back coming.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. If you look throughout history, and I've said this before.
Sorry, Lord of the Rings.
I've said this before. Is history shows that a country goes gradually left and then suddenly right. I mean, look at anything that has made a recovery. It was a significant and immediate almost shift right from whatever left, however you want to define that, whether it's communism, degeneracy, or whatever. Lord of the Rings said Mao believed he did what he had to do. I think. I mean, I would equate Lincoln with Mao too. Oh man. Except Mao didn't kill any Americans, so Lincoln's worse.
It was kind of funny. Anthony Cumia and Gavin McInnes were talking about like Chinese people, and they were going like, Mao killed all the independent free thinking ones, so now it's just the worker bees who like like stay like 19 people to a 1-bedroom apartment, you know? Now it's just all the drones that are left over.
So this question was posed to somebody, I can't remember. I think it might have been actual 4chan post, where the question was, if IQ rates success and makes you successful, why haven't the Chinese or the Asians taken over the world? Aren't they in positions of power? And basically the answer was somebody a lot more intelligent in the genetics world than me basically said that they don't have the genes to produce dopamine from conquering things, if that makes sense. And so they don't get the addiction, they don't get the dopamine rush from not necessarily being successful, but from conquering and exploring. And so that's something that's unique to Europeans.
Then why are they all at national parks? That was a joke.
Dude, I haven't been to a national park. I keep hearing that, and it angers me.
That they're all at national
They
parks?
should have, my tax dollars go to funding national parks. Everybody else benefits from it, meaning everybody else, non-Americans, non-tax-paying Americans. Like, you should have to pay a substantial amount of money to come look at things. Do you have to pay to go to see the Great Wall? Maybe not.
Hold on. Is it Mount Rushmore with the 4 heads on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you ever been?
Mm-mm.
I want to go.
Listen to the Dakotas. I ain't never been to Dakotas.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was like Montana.
Google it. Where is Mount Rushmore? I'm pretty positive it's in the Dakota, one of the Dakotas. Mount Rushmore. Are we going to call it here in a second, boys?
Yeah, we're going long.
Thank you, everybody, for stopping by today. Yep, South Dakota killed it. Let's go. I think Abraham Lincoln is responsible for irreversible damage in the United States of the poverty of the South for one destroying Southern industry. This is a long conversation. I did a podcast, if Jim's still listening, I did a podcast with Dr. Bolt, and we kind of talked about this a little bit. We touched on it really briefly. The poverty of the South is just the nature of agrarianism, I think. But the agrarianism is necessary for a U.S. nation, right? And this is why the North had more money, because they were more industrialized. They were just technologically more advanced, therefore they have more money. And you know, it kind of flows that way. I don't think Lincoln is responsible. You could argue that the nullification, what brought about the nullification crisis with tariffing unjustly on industries that the South ran, like cotton, aided in the poverty of the South. It's definitely a complex issue, but I don't know, just a thought on that. I don't know how, Josh, you got anything to say about that?
I don't know enough about it.
I might have been delusional, but I think Abe was just evil. I think he had handlers, but I have no proof of that.
Yeah, that's kind of what Anthony and Gavin were hypothesizing.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, even if you, it was eugenics essentially is what Mao did, just in a roundabout way.
Mao Zedong.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Outside the Overton. We can call it the Rubber Band Show, because the pendulum, I guess the overarching theme is pendulum, but it is swinging. It's just swinging a lot faster than we
Is Rodney coming
expected
tomorrow?
to. Rodney will be here in the morning. I don't know if he'll be on the show. I think he asked me if you wanted me to get Jack to come on.
For tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
All right. Me, Josh, and Jack tomorrow. I don't know if y'all met Jack, but he I'll try to get him going tomorrow. Rodney was here, so I didn't want to push too hard. But yeah, we'll be here tomorrow with Jack. It is 5:34. We've been going for a while, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, this is
Thank
probably
you for
our
the
longest
call-ins.
stream yet.
Thank you for the call-ins. Kevin, we'll get you next week, brother. I appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, like the stream, share it, send it out to somebody that you might. Gunner,
Sorry,
dude,
Gunner.
you come every day at like the last 5 minutes, dude. Oh man. Ennis, thank you for watching on X. I
Yeah.
I think it's the day 2 of streaming on X. Appreciate that, Ennis.
Enos. Like penis.
All right, boys. We're gonna
See
call
you
it
tomorrow.
laters, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate it.